to go to another one, that's okay. But I think that this situation, right quick, the situation with Mexican OT, for the ones who don't know about the situation, there is someone who I guess is some type of rapper who goes by the name Mexican OT. He's a small little Mexican. Goes by the name Mexican OT. He was on a panel with Angela Yee. I guess she has some type of podcast or something like that. She had a panel, and Chloe Trapper asked him rather, if he feels like he can say the N word, in which he said he feels like he can say it, and the reason he can say it is because nobody gonna stop him from saying it. He said in a room full of people, he said, "What the f you gonna do?" All right, which shows that he does not care that what he says is disrespectful. He doesn't care that what he says is anti-black. He does not care. He opened. That's the very first thing that he said. Not no, oh, well, I grew up around black people. That excuse that the Mexicans always use as some type of justification for saying the N-word. He didn't even start off with that. He started off with straight up hostility, saying, what the F you gonna do about it? That's exactly what he said. And this is how a lot of them feel. And nobody checked him. Nobody said anything. As a matter of a fact, everybody on that couch kind of just laughed it off. Everybody on that couch laughed it off, act like it was a joke, act like it was something. But this goes to show how anti-black he is. And not just him. We have a number of other videos, because black people have been saying something about them saying the N-word for the very longest time. We have other videos about them saying him, Tekashi 6ix9ine, Fat Joe, all of them, not just Mexicans, Hispanics, really in general. They'll be all like, hey man, I can say it because I quote unquote grew up around blacks. Something they never substantiate, by the way. They never mention that. They never substantiate that. Okay. They quote unquote grew up poor, and growing up poor means that you grew up around black people. Because you grew up poor means that for some reason that means that you're black, or you get a black pass, or whatever the case is. And this goes to show the anti-black racism, because they wouldn't sit up there and tolerate, even if you grew up around Hispanics, they wouldn't sit up there and tolerate you saying a slur or anything disrespectful. Not if you said a slur, if you made reference or a joke or anything like that about them being deported or them being illegal or anything like that. They wouldn't sit up there and tolerate that at all. It doesn't matter who you are, how much you do business with them, how much you love them, how much they don't tolerate that, because they do not see you as kin. They don't. And I'm glad it's upsetting, but I'm glad he said this, because this perfectly highlights the fact that there is no black and brown coalition. That the black and brown coalition doesn't exist. So we were making spaces for a minute about why black people shouldn't be involved in these stupid ICE protests that's going on. And I'm glad that this happened, because this perfectly highlights why black people, foundational black Americans, should not be involved in this ICE protest, okay? When ICE comes and they grabbing all of them up because they don't got paperwork, get them out of here, as far as I'm concerned, because this is what we got to deal with on a regular basis. And then when ICE starts knocking at the door, they talk about some black and brown coalition. Y'all can miss me with that. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. Y'all can miss me with all of that. Y'all can miss me with that. All of this convenient black and brown coalition when y'all need some help, and then when ICE ain't bothering y'all, we got to deal with this shit. No, I'm so serious. I'm cool. I'm cool on all that. We got some people in the room. What does Foundation Black Americans, what does that mean? Come on. Yeah, at this point, everybody knows what that means. BX, I'm going to let you go ahead and set the decorum for the room, and then we're going to get started.
All right. Thank you everybody for coming out. When you join the panel, immediately go on mute until directed to speak. When you come off your mic, we will ask you what is your race and ethnicity. So I'm gonna give an example. Um, my name is BX. My race is black. My ethnic group is African American slash Black American. I culturally identify as a foundational Black American. That means that my ancestors were emancipated between 1863 to 1865 and can be found on the 1870 census. So if you are Black racially, but your ancestors are not here in the United States of America during that time period, you are not Black American. That is my ethnic group. You cannot migrate into my ethnic group. You would be a country of origin, which would be Haitian American, Jamaican American, Bajan American, Nigerian American, Ghanaian American, Ethiopian American, so on and so forth. If you come from a two-parent household, or everybody has two parents. If one parent is Ghanaian and the other one is Black American, you just tell me that you're bi-ethnic. And we'll take it from there. Please keep it TikTok friendly. Link. Oh, Mexican isn't a race. That is your ethnicity. So you could say that you're white tea and your ethnic group is Mexican American, so on and so forth for the Latinos. Please use TikTok friendly language, meaning don't don't say the R word, say grape, say unalive, self deletion, deletion, strange fooding, hard candy. And what you're unsure of, please spell it out. If anybody slips, please immediately comment with a flu emoji. Don't use F1s in this chat. And also TikTok friendly language when you are writing in the chat. So that we could keep the integrity of the platform. Because Afro Elite has a pretty calm, cool, everybody gets their voice heard. If I recognize you, you recognize me, and we have a relationship that's outside, a little, we tussle a little bit on other panels. Don't bring that here. Because Afro Elite's going to make sure that your voice is heard, and I will stay on mute. Just let's keep it nice and peaceful. These things do bring about a lot of tension. So leave it at one mic. I will stop you from misinformation and disrespect. But other than that, I'll let you have, I won't interrupt you. I'll sit on my hands while you're talking. Also continuously like the live. So that way it'll also help protect, push him in the algorithm, click that heart by his name, complete the daily mission to improve the rankings and push the platform further into the rankings as well. I believe that's it, Afro.
Yeah, I think that's it. We can get started now. We
Okay.
can get started. So, the first person, and I will say, I'm gonna let everybody speak, but the more people that come up when because normally these rooms it start to get a lot of people. So when it starts to get a lot of people, we can't afford for everybody to be long winded. You know what I'm saying? But right now it's cool. So we're gonna start off with Mac Man. You can state your race and ethnicity, and then your thing on the prompt.
Yeah, peace, brother. I am a 42-year-old black man in America. I mean, all of my heritage has been here. But speaking on, what's going on with Mexican OT and him trying to say that he can use the N word, uh, I find that very disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, uh, you know, like you cannot go amongst the Mexican people and use like certain languages to try to get along with them. And most Mexican people, they don't even like people that is of Mexican descent even speaking English. But for this guy to say that, hey, I use the N word and who don't like it need to do something about it. And to my understanding, it was a black one of the brothers in the room that he said that to. It's very disturbing, man. It's very disturbing, and I mean, I would like to hear, what everybody else got to say, but these people has never been, they never been with us, they never been about us. Our people has always tried to, you know, join ourselves with them, but they don't look at us as family. They don't look at us as being a part of the whole black and brown thing. They don't look at that. I mean, I remember many years ago, man, it was a race war in LA between black and brown. So they don't look at us as being a family at all. And I know you got many people that's in our community that tries to align ourselves with them. But I mean, when our people was unalived in the street, you didn't see no Mexican flags flying at all.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't see none of that. None of that. So now when they going through whatever that they're going through, you got brothers and sisters out there trying to stand in line with them, which I think that's wrong. I think, we should stand back and like let them work it out. But that's just my opinion, though, brother. But I'll let somebody else on the panel come up.
Can
All
I
right.
say something, Afro?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, do y'all remember the Nigerian lady who was saying that the Southern girls can't dress this and that? She was the young lady in the room when what's his name? Mexican OT said that. And something about that interaction to me, when he said, but there's not even no black men here or something, he said. And she said, oh, well, he's one right there. I would like to think that that wasn't a foundational Black American or anybody of the lineage who just doesn't identify as FBA. And I think so because if he really grew up around us as he says he did, he knows the difference. But my thing is that she found another way to shine herself within our culture, and it's on a podcast. And she's an immigrant asking another immigrant, do they think that he should be able to say the N word? See how that works? And
Mm-hmm.
this is why we are now gatekeeping y'all. So keep in mind that lady has already disparaged the lineage by attacking the South, Southern women to be exact. And
Mm-hmm.
she sat there and basically gave a Mexican the password. From what I saw, it seemingly seemed that she was giving him the pass or was being shady when she asked that question because she knows how some of us feel about that.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah, so
just
I'm a,
just to keep in mind for everybody to have full context of this, she didn't ask that question in good faith whatsoever because there was no follow up, there was no checking him or anything like that. She didn't ask that to kind of address him or lay some rules or anything like that. She has displayed anti-black American vitriol in the past when she went viral, maybe 2-3 months before, talking about how black women specifically in the South can't dress and how they want to be like New York women and how New York women, they set the standard and all of this and all of that. That's what they've been doing. Okay, so she's already displayed a little bit of anti-FBA vitriol. If we're gonna be honest, if we're gonna be real with it, all right. So let's gonna have to keep going. We're gonna have to keep going. Let's get to fight for survival.
Hey, Afro, listen, shout out to the host and the panel and moderator and all that. You know what I'm saying? Big fan, Afro Elite, following you on several different X accounts. And Afro Elite, following you on several different X accounts. You know how that go. You know
Appreciate
what I'm
you.
saying? Always, always. So you definitely was cooking earlier. But my problem is that, when I mean we, I'm talking about like FBA as a whole, even though people have not like not a lot of people, but just certain people just haven't really woke up to like you gotta put everything in perspective. Everything from the east to the west and the north to the south, it's all gotta be in perspective, right? So I'm
Mm,
saying I'm from New York, right? We had our racial war with the Latinos and other immigrant groups, right? Specifically with the Latinos. We have an ongoing racial war over on the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? Despite what anybody is trying to say, because people will comment this and that, and it's like you can't make an alliance with one person. You can't make an alliance with two people. So as far as we're concerned, there is no black and brown coalition. That's a farce. Okay, let's use to piggyback off our experiences, to piggyback off our civil rights movement and what we accomplished here. So I'm saying, so there's no black and brown. I don't want to hear that. Black people, especially foundational black Americans, I don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Now about this OT guy, this Mexican OT guy. From what I understand, the panel was filled with immigrants and tethers. You know what I'm saying? Like the Cleo girl, like Angela Yee, another tether. You know what I'm saying? And then From what my understanding, there was one black guy there. Could be a tether, but this is a black man at his job. You feel me? It's not we're not out in the street. You know what I'm saying? This is a black man at his job, and just like the other white T boy, Jin Lee, he had the same attitude. I can say what I want to say. What you gonna do about it? And
Mm-hmm.
they caught him and they poked him up. So I'm saying, so all you're doing is encouraging violence because you challenging another race of people on how they can interact with their own people, and then you have an opinion off of that, and you challenging people, you encouraging violence, and that's not cool because some people are gonna, you know what I'm saying, gonna step to that. You know what I'm saying? That's first and foremost. I think everybody in the comments that, oh, oh, we could do this. Oh, I'm this. No, you can't. You're not me. You'll never be me. Okay? If we grew up around each other, how come I don't sound like you? You feel me? So no, you cosplaying, you trying to be something that you like, and that's cool, but don't disrespect. So we let you know that's disrespectful. I don't care who your friend is, who your best friend is. If we let you know that's disrespectful and you continue to do so, whatever happens, happens. You know what I'm saying? And that's on you. That's on your decision to feel how you feel. So, every consequence, every reaction got a reaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna say one more thing, I'm gonna keep it like that. We gotta take the full scope and everything that's happened in totality, right? I'm from New York and I say it again because you got a lot of tethers and all this flyness, this fashion, the swag, the rap, all that came from foundational Black Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tethers are just or they tether. They're trying to be like us, trying to take shots at our own family because they think they're us. If you look at Biggie started that East West rap beef. Biggie was an immigrant. They not us. They have no kin to us, but you want to be us and you want to boast on top of that. I look at a tether no different than I look at a Mexican. You're not the same. You can't say the N word. If you want to try me, then try me. It's gonna go up. End of story. Fist or whatever.
Yep. Appreciate you. If you guys, we're just gonna say this. If y'all have an issue, if y'all don't have time, if y'all can't stay on your mic, then maybe y'all need to come back another time. We just gonna do it like that. Cause all of this, everybody coming off their mic, is it my turn? No, it's not. This is not a room full of children. All right. So when it's your turn, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna give you a chance to speak. We're gonna give everybody a chance to speak tonight. We're gonna be in here. But don't be coming off y'all mic. Don't be doing that. Don't be doing that. Um, but we have a special guest in here. We have Zeze from the For the Culture. If y'all have subscribed to the For the Culture thing, me and Zeze, we be co-hosting this podcast that you guys definitely need to check out. And she's here with us, joining us live. And I definitely want to give her a chance to weigh in because she was on YouTube yesterday speaking on this subject as well too. So I
Mm-hmm.
want to give her a chance to chime in, and then we're gonna get to everybody else.
Well,
All
hello,
right.
Afro. Good to see you, darling.
Good to see you too, beloved.
Oh, how you do that? Okay. But peace to the chat. Peace to everybody on the panel. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Good to be here. Yeah. So I heard about this Mexican OT thing. I was talking about it yesterday on my live, and I actually joined a panel on TikTok the other day talking about it too. But yeah, it's very telling of the lack of brown, quote unquote, black and brown coalition that they love to use, and it's very telling of the fake blackness that a lot of these Latinos like to put on or use as a coat to get away with their anti-black vitriol. Okay. Because the only time they like to say, oh, well, yeah, I grew up with them, I did this with them, and it's to get away with things like this. Why can't you say you're not saying that in your and to fight or to push some sort of pro-black narrative or some sort of or fight a fight with us in some sort of black agenda? You don't use that when it's time for us to fight up against white supremacy or fight against this oppressive system. You want to use that in order to come into our spaces and cosplay as one of us whenever you want to. You want to dip in and out of it whenever you feel like it or whenever you can benefit from it. But it's very telling because a lot of these Latinos want to identify as, well, I don't know if you want to use, I think on the other panel I was using, they was using YT because I don't know if they get flagged or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yes,
They were,
please.
it kind of shows a little bit of hands up Latin right there. But
It
anyways,
really does, but you know.
yeah, we know how this go because I can say nigga all day. But anyways, So yeah, but a lot of them identify as YT anyways. You know, I seen something today where there was another Mexican on the internet talking about, yeah, you know, and for all of y'all that's upset about Mexican OT using the N-word, we backing them. What y'all gonna do about it? Y'all need to get over it. It's not that deep. We over here being in the same neighborhoods that we raised together, and we can use it, and then the people we around don't have a problem with it. So all the rest of y'all that got a problem with just gonna have to deal with. And it's like, it shows the lack of respect because we don't go to y'all home countries and do that. We're not going to your home countries and using the W word or the B word or the S word, the many slurs that y'all have. We wouldn't even ever feel comfortable, even if y'all were, even if we were allowed to use it by some of you. But the fact that y'all take that little bit of inch that you get from some of these Negroes, which one of them are actually, one, a lot of these Negroes that's allowing them to do it without tethers, they're not even Black Americans, like Cleo Trapper and them women that was up on that podcast who let them get away with that. A lot of them are not even us. But then two, even if we do take that little inch, give y'all a little inch, y'all take a whole mile. Because at the end of the day, even if that were the case, y'all could at the very least, have the decency to say, you know what? Well, if the majority of your community or other parts of your community don't respect us using it, you know what? I'm going to lay off. I'm at least only say it around the Black people that allow me to use it, which I'm still not okay with. I think if you're using the word, or if you're fighting to use the word, if you want to die on that hill of using that word, it just shows your level of anti-Black racism right there. I mean, all for it really shouldn't even be questioned. But at the very least, I'm going to keep it within the bounds of the people that are comfortable with me saying that. I'm going to respect y'all's culture, respect y'all's plight with that word, the history that comes behind that word, and I'm just going to back off on saying it. But the fact that you come up here, you comfortable talking about, I'm not, what are you going to do about it, and point to the only Black man, which I'm glad the brother brought that up, he's at work. Like, hello, you came on a female podcast talking about I wish it was men in here. Like, you're a coward, first of all. But number two, you address the only Black man in there that's at his job. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to do that on the streets with a bunch of brothers that's really going to check you. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to do that. And you're even back in Texas with brothers that's actually going to check you. You're not going to even do that with some of these Black artists that you've collabed with. I've never heard you have that type of energy with what's the brother name? Big X the Plug. He got a song with Shorty. He got a song with a couple brothers. And I ain't never heard you have that sort of energy. But now all of a sudden, when you get up here with some females that's not even from here, you want to buck up your chest and talk about who's going to do what. Well, sir, you ain't gave the brothers the opportunity because they didn't even know you had that energy. They didn't even know you was on that type time. But now that they know, I guess we gonna find out. I hope we do. I hope he find out at least. We gonna say, hey, Grace.
Yeah, I agree with everything. The brother, and you're gonna say something like we said. We don't know if the dude was a tether or not, but you gonna talk about the one single cameraman who's probably behind a computer screen or whatever the case, can't leave because what is he gonna do? Get up off his chair from behind the screen and then check you and get fired for that? You know what I'm saying? The fact that he said that and he scanned the room, first off, he didn't even see any Black men, which is why he even said that. I wish there were Black men here. He didn't see nobody. So he already knew, like, hey, man, okay, I'm in a room full of them. You know, these females who clearly don't have an issue with me saying it, what y'all gonna do about it? And the fact that Angela Yee allowed that to happen with no pushback, this is her podcast, and she didn't give any pushback whatsoever. Now, I want to ask you guys this question. For some people who are all like, well, she's a journalist and all of this, whatever, right? If he was to say, and I said this on YouTube, if he was to say, I can call a woman the B word and ain't nothing nobody can do about it, do you think she would have just let that slide and laugh that off?
Hell no.
Do you think her, Chloe Trapper, or any of the other women would have just, oh, okay, I guess there is nothing we can do about it? And then proceeded, because I want you to understand, that was in the middle of the podcast. That's not even towards the end. They proceeded for a whole nother, like, good hour or so in the podcast and never brought that back up again.
Yeah, they're not, and that's also where that the problem of intersectionality with a lot of these tethers, a lot of them put these intersectional lines before their Blackness. See, as Black Americans, I'm Black and I'm proud is something that we live by. I'm Black. When you ask a Black American, what are you? It's not, oh yeah, most of us don't even say Black American. Most of us don't even say, even if we are foundational Black Americans, it's just an automatic response to say I'm Black. So our Blackness has always been at the forefront of our experience. But some of these tethers that come over here, it's not I'm Black. It's I'm African, I'm Caribbean, I'm Jamaican, I'm da-da-da, I'm mixed. You know, it's a lot of things they put at the forefront. So their offense to that word isn't nowhere near as deeply rooted as it is for Black Americans. But if you bring up a word like you said, like bitch, oh, especially if on that feminism tip, it's oh no, that's you're a misogynist. You're going to get canceled. It's like they are 10 times more offended by something that really shouldn't even be as big of a deal as it should be in comparison to insulting your blackness.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Let's continue with the panel. I want everybody to see the prompt real quick, so I'm gonna switch it back. So we're gonna switch it back like that. Oh, well, hold on. Okay, hold on. I'm switching up. All right. So the next person we had in line is, let me see, Lukey Lou.
Thank you. I'm just thank you and Zeze for the panel, because it does need to be addressed and discussed. I stay on the West Coast. I live in Cali, so I'm aware of how Mexicans treat Black people on the West Coast. It's not good. Somebody was in the comments saying that, oh, we get along. No, they don't. They don't. They harass our children in school. And far as using the N-word, real Mexicans don't use the N-word. They don't. It's the ones that are seeking to align, and which I'll say cosplay, Black Americans. That's what that is when they're using the N-word. Real Hispanics, real Mexicans do not do that. But one of the things that I want them to understand is you cannot be racist to us 365 and then expect for us to stand with you and try to help you with what your plight is, even if it seems similar to what we going through. We can't just wash away what we see with our own eyes. And I'm very shocked. I'm very shocked about the Black people out West allowing them to use the N-word in the manner that they do. I was very blown by it, but I am a transplant out here. I've been here 10 years. And before that, I was in Mississippi. But I was very blown by the Blacks here, allowing them to behave in a manner that they do. I don't know if it's because, with them, if they get into something or anything pop off, they can always fly across the border and run away from anything that might be harmful for them. And Blacks don't have that option. We don't have nowhere to flee to. This is our home, first and foremost. We don't have another flag to wave. This is where we are. But again, Mexicans have to be honest about the anti-Black sentiments that they have towards our people. Be honest about it. Be honest that it's destroying your home. You have to be honest about those things. And that's all I want to say.
Okay. Let me address one comment, and thank you. Somebody in the chat room says Cali Mexicans and Texas Mexicans are different. I keep hearing that. No, that's not true. Because the culture in Mexico is that way. The culture in Mexico is anti-Black. Look at the way they treat Afro Mexicans and Afro Hispanics and Latinos. They keep coming up here acting like there's some type of big difference. No, the reason why in Cali they're so open about it, maybe more open than they are in Texas or Chicago or New York, is because they have such a big population in California. That's pretty much the only reason. They're just more blatant about it. It's not like, well, the ones in Texas love Black people. The ones in Cali, they kind of hate Black people. No, it's not like that. They all think they all on the same type of time. It's just some people hide it based off of their environment. So they have to, because they understand the stuff they get away with in Cali, they couldn't really get away with in Chicago. They couldn't really get away with in Texas. So they're a little bit more low key. Let's and thank you for that. Let's get to
Adrian,
I just clicked it. Adrian, oh yeah, what's your race and ethnicity? I forget about that.
I'm a foundational Black American.
All right.
I just want to. I live in Houston, and I live around the Mexicans, and they don't like us. In fact, I just want to give a little situation. Yesterday, I'm in the gas station, and it's a long line. And these two Mexican guys come and just try to get in front of me. And you know, I'm originally from Chicago, so you know I wasn't having that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was a black man in front of me, and I was talking crap, because they very disrespectful to black women. And so when the black man went on and checked out, then the Mexican gonna start talking crap to me, right? And so the girl that was on the panel earlier, where her in the box with you, she hit it on the head what I wanted to say, because they're disrespectful to black women and they cowards. Because I heard you guys talking about Mexican OTs use the N
What
white
happened?
guy.
Okay.
You know, you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So if they were in person, he wouldn't have used that word with that black guy that was at work. Mexicans men get tough with black women. They don't get tough with black men, period. Not in person. They're not gonna do it. I find that they resonate with YT, even though they try to say they not, but that's who they align with. And the Mexicans don't even know that they are one of the 12 tribes of Israel. They don't know their history. They don't know their history. The Mexicans are one of the 12 tribes of Israel. And foundational black people, we may not know that or believe that, but it's true. They just have disassociated themselves with anything that's black. They have associated themselves with the privileged in this world. That's what they want. That's what they line with. That's why they go and do everything like them. So I just wanted to say that. I live around them. They don't like us. And if you know anything about the Buffalo Soldiers, that's another reason they hate us, is because of the Buffalo Soldiers. The United States brought in the Buffalo Soldiers to kill the Indians.
You can't say that. You can't say that. You can't say the K word here, because TikTok they have shut us down.
Okay, sorry about that. Well, that's the reason that they hate us, for real.
Mm-hmm.
You just do some research on the Buffalo Soldiers and what they did when they showed up.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have to talk about the Buffalo Soldiers, not tonight, but we will have to talk about that sometime soon. Let's get to Poor Righteous Teacher. I'm assuming you're Black American based off your flag there. I think that's
Not
Absolutely.
so fast. I'm sorry, Afro.
Well,
They will appropriate the flag just to get in our spaces,
Oh,
and
okay. Well,
then
yeah, I
all
guess
right.
so.
yeah.
Let me respond to that real quick because I was on another live with BX
You're
before,
not
and
being skipped over.
Oh.
He was here first. I'm gonna get to you. Keep going.
Hmm.
Poor
for
Righteous
me,
Teacher. Go
oh,
ahead.
okay. No, I was saying, BX, we had a conversation before, and yes, I'm 1 trillion% Black American. Now, what I wanted to say was, I actually ZZ, Fight for Survival, and BX actually said pretty much everything I was going to say. But so I'm gonna just come at it from this angle because I'm actually kind of going through this at the job I just recently got into. When these young, I ain't even gonna say they're all young. I'm gonna just say period goofies, man. They keep allowing them to say this word, and it's pretty much causing
It's the
people
same
like
word.
Mexican OT to pop off the way that they are. Like, you know what I mean? And that really annoys me. And I don't know what we could do about that, man. But we could come up with a solution for that. That's on that side. But as far as the other end, that's the reason why I don't want any coalition whatsoever. One, we as Black Americans, we don't need anybody in the coalition. We've done everything pretty much by ourselves for decades or hundreds of years, really. And so I don't even see the point of why this keeps coming up. And then why is it with them? Is because right now they're going through their issue. That's when they start calling out the name. But when we start talking about reparations and things like that, you see their polls, They don't even their popular people. They don't even want us to get it, and it don't got nothing to do with them. Where's the coalition then? You know what I mean? Where's the coalition when you look at the Mexican? I'm sorry, the Hispanic caucus. They don't say anything about Black Americans, but you look at our Congressional Black Caucus. It got black and brown all through it. You understand what I'm saying? So this is one-sided and it's unnecessary, man, and it's just annoying. But I say we stay to ourselves, build with ourselves. We still got some issues that we need to work out with each other on like personal level, just within our race. Like iron that out, and we'll be a force that can't nobody deal with. Truthfully, you understand what I'm saying? Like we don't need no coalition, especially with watching. Got to keep watching our back for how they think and feel about us, and trying to cosplay us and transplant us. Like I mean, that's just weird, man. And I'm just all for us. I think we could do it all on our own. I ain't gonna hold up too much of y'all time. Zeze and Afro, I see y'all all the time on YouTube. Just want to salute y'all for what y'all do, man. And I'm gonna step down and let somebody else get their say.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you. That's a bless.
All right. All right. Let's get to Jose. You got it. Your race and ethnicity, sir.
How you doing, man? My name. Oh no, you said my race and ethnicity.
Yeah.
So I'm Hispanic from Guatemala, born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana.
And your race or your racial category is?
Latino, Hispanic.
That's not a race. So
Well,
you're
school.
white. I'm just gonna. Anytime y'all come up here and y'all don't want to say your race, I'm just gonna assume that you're white. Then.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Look. The
Okay.
last thing I'm gonna be on here is combative or
Okay.
that's the last thing I want to do because going off of what Zeze was saying, and excuse me if I mispronounced your name, but you said a lot of truths and you said a lot of things that made a lot of sense. And I want to piggyback off of a few things because first and foremost, just to get the picture and the text that you got on the screen out of the way, I think the way Mexican OT made that statement and addressed it was out of pocket. I don't. It didn't prove a point, nor did he make a point. I think it could have been explained better in a more just in a better way, so we could get that out the way. But as far as I'll be honest with you, a lot of the things that are set up here about black and brown coalitions not existing or being non-existent does kind of hurt because not hurt, but it disappoints me a little bit because we're speaking about communities as if they're monoliths when I'm sure black folks have hated when other communities have spoken about them as if they're all the same, right? So to do it to our community, I'm sure we can understand how that's a bit unfair and then just untrue, right? We know that different cultures vary from state to state. Up north culture is extremely different than southern culture, than culture in the West Coast. So I will say this, and it kind of struck a nerve with me, not in a bad way, but it did point out something a real good topic to touch on. As Zeze said that she said, we don't go to you guys' country and use the W word, the S word, and you're absolutely right. The only thing I would push back on, not to justify, the only thing is that we as a community haven't made the S word or the W word cool like you guys have. Meaning like we don't use it amongst each other as a term of endearment. So there's no way we could confuse the W word or the S word as, oh, we're okay to use it because they use it amongst each other. We don't use it amongst each other at all. And so if a young person that grows up in a black and brown community hears his best friend say it and his best friends allow him to say it, and if he's yet to learn that it's a derogatory term, once he learns it and understands the history behind the word, if he still then uses it, then absolutely it's incorrect. But there are gray areas with that word, and when certain communities grow up together and aren't yet educated on that word. And we just have to be truth about the matter. If my boy tells me, bro,
Oh,
can you
wait,
not
wait.
use that word? It offends
Can I
me
ask you a question?
100%.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you automatically assume that proximity means that y'all are friends?
Wait,
Because growing up, yeah,
can you repeat that for me?
why would proximity mean that I would have a Latino as a best friend? This is somebody from New York you're talking to. So I've lived in proximity to Puerto Ricans all my life. And conveniently, I know not to call them the S word, right? Since the age of 7. I know what right from wrong. I'm saying that's an excuse. You said not to make an excuse. That's an excuse. And you automatically assume because two different ethnic groups and cultures live in proximity that they're automatically friends. At least that's the way I perceive
Oh
it.
no,
But
if
there is a long-standing history of tension
yeah.
between the two groups. What I'm finding is that Latinos don't understand cultural boundaries, right? Because for me, when I don't believe in allies, but one of my things is to be cool with me. I don't want to hear that word.
And
So
that's
don't
totally
say it around me. And that should just be a given because we're not a monolith.
You're absolutely right. And no, if
Yeah.
what I said came across as me assuming that because you and I grow up next to each other that we're best friends, that's not the message I was trying to convey. I was saying if
Okay.
it just so happens we grow up in the same community, and if you happen to be my friend and we grow up, it 100 we're our cultures are 100% gonna rub off on each other. I've heard a lot of folks also say on this panel saying that that we tend to pick up on you guys' terms and you guys' verbiage and you guys' culture, but um that doesn't happen the other way around. And again, I can't speak for the experience of the people who said that, but I can most definitely speak from my experience around my community, around the people I've grown up, and that's totally false. Like it's just common sense to say that if you grow up around certain cultures, and you're close enough to it, you are bound. They're bound to rub off on each other.
That's not true.
Okay, now you addressed Zeze in her comments, so I'm gonna let her respond to what you had to say because you addressed quite a bit of what she had to say.
Yeah, I mean, that's not true. We a lot of Black Americans, especially those on the East Coast up north, we grow up around different cultures all the time, and it's never a two-way street. You have Asians who cosplay as us, who exploit our community, who use our slang, listen to our music, have businesses in our neighborhoods, but there is never nothing over. You don't see Black Americans walking around using Asian slang if they have any. Wearing Asian styles of clothing, listening to Asian music. It's never that way. And the same thing go for Latinos in communities like New York or in LA. The cultural differences are very prevalent. There are a lot of Latinos out in LA, but you don't see a lot of Black Americans cosplaying as Latinos. You don't walk through a Black neighborhood and hear Mexican music. That's not what's happening. If you're hearing a Mexican playing on the radio, it's because it's somebody like Mexican O2 who's cosplaying as a Black American or indulging in our culture and is using our music. So we're listening to it for our cultural sake. But it's never the opposite way. We're not walking around with sombreros and them using words like fool or homes or like that's not. We don't do that. Even with the slang that y'all do have, we don't use it. That's not so it's not a two-way street. Even with that word, if we go back to the N word, even if you did grow up in proximity to Black Americans, if you had a friend, there's no way growing up in America as any person, but damn sure as a non-white person, you understand the egregious predicament that Black America is in. You understand one of the first things you learn about racism is that word for anybody. So if for you to feel comfortable enough to use that word, regardless of your relationship with any Black person in any Black community who you felt comfortable using with, if you don't even have to know all of the history of it. All you got to know is they use that word to slaughter many of our people. Just knowing that fact, which many people know. If you over 18, if you really over about 13, 14, you learn that fact in school. So there's no way that you don't sit there and at least have that conversation, especially when you take it back home, because again, you use this word out here in the streets with black people, but you're not taking that home and using it around your abuela. You're not using it at your family events. You're not going to Mexico and using it with your family over there. They wouldn't even understand that language. What are you talking about? What is that? They don't even speak English. So there's already a level of understanding where you know that's not something culturally fit for you. It's damn sure not fit for you in a racial aspect. So you understand that. Many of them understand that. And to say that this is just oh, well, yeah, we grow up around each other. No. You got Asians that never support black businesses and that never. I work in a black-owned restaurant right now. There are so many immigrants around there, non-black immigrants. When I tell you the only people that come in this black restaurant are black people and black non-foundational black Americans, but also black people, they're the only people. There's Asians that walk past every day. It's Hispanics that walk past every day. They see our restaurant. We right beside it's a Mexican restaurant right beside us. None of them. When I say I barely get Hispanic customers, it's not by accident. I've been working there for 2 years. We've barely gotten a lick of Hispanics up in there. There is a level of anti-blackness within your community that you have to be. You have to hold your own community accountable for, because we ain't gonna do it. We got our own problems to worry about. So the last thing we want to worry about is whether you sit up here saying, I'm not racist, but I just use the word because, people said I could use it. It's like I have to automatically assume the worst. I have to, because your people as a whole have presented that's the side of the line that you want to stay on, which is fine. Stay on that side of the line. You won't have to learn the hard way, because ultimately, system white supremacy goes against anybody considered non-white. And you can sit up there and put on the census you white all you want, but they know who you are. So you can learn the hard way if you want, but don't put that responsibility on black Americans like we're supposed to judge on a person-to-person basis who is and who isn't, when, baby, I'm just going to assume all of you are. There's no reason for you to be using the word. I'm sorry. Unless you're a child who literally has not learned it yet, but I'm sure you have, because at home, again, they're not going to be allowed to use it. Their parents is going to be like, hey, mijo, you need to stop using that right now. So it's going to be corrected. Even at that young age, you know not to be using that word. But again, that's the level of entitlement and, again, anti-black racism that you have internalized within you, and that's why you're feeling the need to try to defend it. But there is no excuse.
Yeah. Well, look, I will say this. I think one I come up here with respect, and I have nothing but the utmost respect, not only for your community, for any community and every community. So last thing I'm gonna do is be combative. What I will say is that I think a lot of opinionated statements that you make them factual, meaning you say things like you're going back home and they don't speak English, but you're saying it like,
I'm sorry. Is Mexico a majority English speaking country? Is that not a fact? That it's a Spanish speaking country.
So people don't speak Spanish here. People don't speak Chinese here. So that means in other countries they can't speak
predominantly English speaking country, sir. That's a fact.
Yeah, I understand you have some self-hatred towards us, but it's not reciprocated. We don't have it towards you. As much as you want to hate us, we don't have it towards you. We love all.
It seems like you triggered that.
Okay, hold on.
No. You see how
you've been screaming this whole time. You've been screaming this whole time. You triggered.
Sir, did you wait? It's not a matter of triggered. Did you really grow up around black people, black Americans? Because black Americans are passionate. That's just us when when we're talking, we're passionate.
Okay,
that's not anger.
Go ahead. Yeah, y'all go ahead.
And these are actual facts. It's nothing to lie about. I don't have to make my opinion.
It's not a fact. You're saying that nobody speaks English in other countries.
You just want to make the fact my opinion, and that's okay if it makes
No, anybody in the world could Google that and disprove you in half of a second. There's 30 things that you said that people could just Google and disprove. You're just saying lies.
Like what? Name one.
You just say it. I already did. You just say it loud, and you think that makes it right.
Fact. Mexico is a Spanish-speaking country. What are we talking about?
So in America is an English-speaking country where they speak thousands of other languages.
Yeah, but the number one language is black. The number one language is black. It's the majority that people speak is white.
Again, I understand you got a lot of hate towards people, but look, we love you. No matter how much.
I thought it was internalized hate. Now it's just hate. Baby, get your mind straight. I know the anti-blackness messing you up. You trying to cover it up. I know it's hard to cover it up.
No matter how much hate you have, we love you. I'm out.
You don't love us, sir.
So can I make this? I'm going to make this announcement, right? Since And Afro Elite, you know that I used to mod for Shavu, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because I have BX in my name since I've been on this platform, I would speak about the real dynamics of New York City and the relationships that I see between the two communities. I would tell the truth that they did not create hip hop, things of that nature, and how it feels to be a non-Spanish speaking Black American woman going into their businesses, such as their nail shops and bodegas. Do you know they threatened to smack me in New York City? They said, wait till I see BX in New York City. So I say all of that to say this. See, when we're not going along to get along, see the aggression that came out of him towards
Mm-hmm.
ZZ?
Yeah,
Yep. That's
easily.
Right.
what I said.
That's
Let
all
him
that
go.
That
Let
is.
him go.
that's their
Let him go.
trait. Yeah, that's a trait that I
Yep.
find in them.
Yep. I said.
Yeah.
Notice he came in. I don't mean no disrespect or whatever the case
Mhm.
is. I don't mean no disrespect. The second she says something, and if she wasn't disrespectful, she didn't insult him. She didn't insult his people. She didn't say nothing like that. Okay. We let him go on a whole long rant. Didn't interrupt him one time, and then he acting all trick. I know there's a lot of self-hate with your people, but we love everybody as he's defending using a slur against black people.
Right.
Okay. Now let me ask y'all something. Let me say something else. The whole we grew up around black people, and my best friend, he used to say it. Growing up, okay, there was a word that we used to call people when, like, slow people or whatever the case is. We used to say the R word. We're not gonna say that, but we
Hmm.
used to say the R word. Not just it was a normal thing, okay, to call somebody the R word. It was not no curse word. It wasn't taboo. Nothing. All of a sudden, well, not really all of a sudden, but then culturally, that word became inappropriate to use. And
Hmm.
then everybody accepted that that word was inappropriate to use. Nobody argued, I grew up using this word. Nobody argued, well, come on. I mean, I use this word with my friends. Nobody argued that. Everybody understood that this word is inappropriate and simultaneously stopped using it. There's not a single adult, not a single one, just like Zeze, not a single one who doesn't know what the N word means, where the N word comes from. Not one. So the whole word, maybe if you grew up around black people and you didn't really know, no, yeah, you do. You know it's a slur. You know it is. Um, but I just look at peep the hostility right there.
Every
I don't know
time.
how to pronounce your name. How do you at the bottom? How do you pronounce your name? Z is what Cruz spelled upside
Looks
down.
like cruise back. Yeah, cruise
Mm.
backwards.
Cruz going once, going okay. There we go.
All right, hey, what's up, y'all?
How you doing?
Doing good.
Let's
How
see.
y'all?
Simplicity first.
Any opening questions, Afro Elite?
Yeah, I asked you your race and ethnicity for
Okay,
context of the conversation.
my race. I don't know.
YT. Go
Mm-hmm.
ahead.
They all say. They always say. They always say that. Okay, and your what? Your ethnicity.
My ethnicity. My dad's an indigenous from Guerrero in Mexico. My mom's family is from Spain.
Okay. Okay.
I was born in Cali.
Oh, okay.
A lot of white
So,
Spaniards though.
What's yeah? What's on your mind as far as the prompt?
all right. I wrote some notes on my hand. Let's see. Number one, what my homie said. We're kind of listening in. What he said is that the people on Instagram are the loudest. The loudest.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I follow like all the Spanish language, all the Latino culture Instagrams, and they blow up Hispanic artists who do hip hop like crazy. I'm sure they get paid for it. But every time I see that shit, I'm like, miss me. Like, I do not like it. It just never ever hit. Whenever I see Mexican OT, never hit for me. I'm much more the guy who's like group of family who's like in the banda norteños. If you guys know Fuerza Regida coming up, Junior H, even going old school like Vicente Fernandez, you know, Salino Chance, all right? A guy de Mexico. Anyway, so
What the hell?
I don't
setting.
know what he's talking about. I'm trying to let him get to the point, but
Okay. But thing is, all this stuff has always missed me, even when they use "and" in their lyrics. It's always missed me. All right. So whenever a Mexican OT opens his mouth, it's not a monolith for Mexicans. So people on Instagram are always the loudest too. Second thing is that I think we're missing the point that a lot of parents who grew up in the 80s, just like how Afro Elite talked about how the R word is no longer appropriate, there's a lot of parents in the 80s learning that same lesson with their racism against their anti-Black racism, So they're not going to tell their kids, that anti-Black racism exists because they embody it themselves. And then on the flip side of that, at the same time, in the 80s, 90s, Blackness is being reclaimed, right? So it's like a mixed bag. The kids who grew up with that, some of them embody that racism. Some of them understood that there was a solidarity growing, especially in mixed communities, like throughout California, in my experience. So the last thing I'll say is that it's still happening to this day. And I'll give you a little story. I was like, yeah, last one. I'm leaving like my apartments, right? And there's like a Mexican like teenager. He's like with two of his Black friends, I guess. And we're like passing the same gate. And I'm trying to leave. They're trying to come in. And then the young Mexican guy says, all you, and like to me. And I'm just like, and then his friends don't check him. And what I say is, I know you're not talking to me. And I make my way through. So this is a little bit of a feedback from my side of things.
I'm gonna have to put you on a timer because I don't. I'm just. Oh, you're done. Thanks. Look. Hold on. You're gonna have to wait your turn to speak. Here's my thing. All of this, we used to get along, and the parents not understanding or teaching their children not to be racist. You should know that. We're not gonna sit up there. Okay, since you're not gonna be quiet and shut up like an adult, I'm just gonna block you. How about that? I'm just gonna find you and block you. As an adult, you're responsible for what you do. Okay, you are responsible. They are 100% responsible and held accountable. Just because their parents are racist does not give them the slightest pass to be racist at all. It is in their culture. They clearly don't have an issue with it. Mexican OT is not old. Mexican OT is probably in his 30s, maybe. I wouldn't even say he's probably in his 40s. He's probably somewhere in his 30s. He's not no old man. And look at what he does. Look at what Tekashi 6ix9ine does. They're not old people whatsoever. So this is something that they teach and they don't have an issue with. They do not have an issue with being anti-Black. This is not because, well, my parents brought us up this way. Even if it was, it's still your responsibility to work your way out of that. And this perfectly highlights how there is no Black and Brown coalition. But thank you. Let's get to, let me see. Mount H and
I think it's Mound Hunter.
Okay, Mount Hunter. Okay.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you? And
Good. I'm 10th generation Texan. A lot older than you guys. I'm 64 years old, and I'm Black American. Yeah, FBA.
All right.
Okay. I just want to make a couple points. Hey, you know what? I want to start out by saying that the analogy that you made with the R word to me was spot on, because there was a time that was a word that we would throw back and forth to each other just to, it wasn't, we didn't meant to hurt anybody, but it was like to get at people, and we would say the R word to other folks, and it was playful, we thought, but when we found out that it was a slur, it was ugly, which it was, and we stopped doing it. Okay? So, and I don't know why it seemed like some of these people think that, well, as a matter of fact, I think I do know why. Let me just say this first: is that many of the Hispanics that come over, they have no intention of being our allies. No intention whatsoever. I think if we think that they're our allies, I think we're sort of missing the boat. Many of them are very, I want to use the word tribal. They come over here, many of them come from situations where they were racist against people that were dark skinned, and they bring that same thing over here. And they try and treat dark skinned people over here like they treat dark skinned people in their country. And this whole thing with the N word, a lot of them, it's just pretty much what OT was pretty much saying is that we're gonna use that word to dominate whether you like it or not. That's his headspace. It's a word that they use. Some folks like him use to say we're gonna do it whether you like it or not. It's just a form of domination, and many of them have that mindset. For instance, here in Houston, we have several lawsuits going on at the university at HCC where and you can actually look this up, where Hispanics came in and they start firing black folks and bringing in their family and friends to fill those positions. And it's been a lawsuit going on, I think, for the last 4, 5, 6 months. That's very common. They come to these neighborhoods and they don't try to get along. They want to move you out. So I haven't seen any, maybe some of these Hispanics that have been here a couple of generations, but the new one comes in, they do not have any allegiance, any need to align themselves. They see us as a stepping stone. I've been on jobs. I work in the most of the jobs I worked on. They were, I have a degree in biomedical electronics. My last 10 years of employment was I worked in robotics, right? So I didn't meet a lot of Hispanics. I met some, but many of the ones that I worked, they were like to me like a lot of the Africans. You cannot trust them. They will stab you in the back. They will bring their friends in. They would act as if they're your friend, and then they would go and stab you in the back. And that's been my experience. Am I being racist? Maybe so. I'm just this is anecdotal to me. This is what I experienced. Now, I know some fantastic Hispanic people. My real estate broker that put me on to several beautiful houses that I was able to purchase, they were all Hispanic. Matter of fact, the guy that got me into college that I probably didn't have the grades to make was this Hispanic guy. So I don't have any anger toward Hispanic people. I'm just saying in general, what I see is that many of them come over with the idea that they do not care to ally. They thinking about to dominate. They see us being beneath them, and they use us as a stepping stone. And we just have to be aware of that. So, is there anything else? I made a couple of notes. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to put that out there. So I'm gonna go ahead and step down. I mean, and land my plane.
All right, appreciate you. Let's get you, Anna. You've been with us before, right? So you're.
Yeah.
I forget. I
Yes.
know you've been with us before,
Yeah.
Anna.
My
You're.
my name is Anna, and I am Mexican, but also have indigenous as well as Afro Latino.
Mm, mm. What's your race? Like, if you were to put your race on a job application, what would you put down?
I mean, I put Hispanic, so I
What
could cover
race would you
myself.
put down, though?
They don't. They don't ask that. You either just put Hispanic, white, but they don't
Light
ask
skin to
what.
Afro.
They do ask, and Hispanic is not a race.
I mean, usually they put us as white on
Okay,
license, on
okay,
driver's license,
all right. So
on
white, all
driver's
right.
license.
So white. So go ahead.
Well, my opinion is, I definitely agree that shouldn't be a word that should be said. Unfortunately, a lot of these young kids, they're also getting into different cultures, liking different cultures. I mean, especially where I live in Texas, I've been to several Asian events, and you can go see my profile, my videos, and you will see that there's kids from all different races. There's black kids, there's Hispanic kids, There's white kids, there's Asian kids, and they are all getting along, and they're all, doing things that each culture likes. And I've seen it also in Mexican tradition, quinceañeras. There's different kinds of cultures there.
Mm.
So I feel like that's probably why these kids nowadays, they think it's okay for them to say that, and I've caught a couple of them and I've corrected them. I've let them know, hey, do you know the history of that word? You shouldn't be saying that. That's not okay. So, in my opinion, is it sucks to see this, but if you see it, don't be afraid to speak it. Because I mean, being a Latina, like I don't think that's right, and I have corrected different kids that I've seen say that.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, I mean, you are seeing a lot of this nowadays, and I agree with the one guy that came in earlier. I forgot his name, but Cruz. You know, unfortunately, you do get to see a lot of these. Like Takashi. I never liked him. Same thing with. I've never liked Mexican OT, and there's a lot of us Hispanics that we do not like him. We don't claim him, and we just think what he says is disrespectful in general, not just with anything, but he talks bad about Hispanics. So a lot of us don't like him. But there is a lot of us that we stand against things like that, and we do speak up on it. And we have friends from different cultures. We
So
have family members from different
let me
cultures.
ask you, you think it's because of what you said, you think kids do it. Kids do it because they're in, you said your quinceañeras or something like that. It's a mixed crowd in the
Yeah,
quinceañeras.
yeah, there is.
Hmm. Now that's, to me, maybe it's because of Chicago being so segregated. Black kids were not invited in no large numbers like that to quinceañeras like that.
Excuse me,
And, and
Anna.
my
Where are you
my
from?
thing, hold
Oh,
on,
I'm,
my
I'm
thing is
from
this.
Texas.
My thing is this. Why are the non-kids saying it? Because Mexican OT is an adult. All of these people we're addressing are adults. These are not children who are just blissfully ignorant and think the word is cool. These are not children who think the word is cool. Mexican OT knows that the word is not cool, which is why he said, what you gonna do about it? Who gonna stop me? If he thought the word was appropriate, he wouldn't have even felt the need to say that.
He shouldn't. But I'm just saying you're starting to see it more now in the younger generation because they are hanging around with different nationalities. You're seeing it more. Even like one of my niece's husband got, he's in prison right now.
Mm.
And we told him like, look, prison's not like it is out here because my niece, she's a Caribbean, and her boyfriend is a white kid, and he's over here, here in America. I mean, not in America, but like not in the prison. He acts totally different because he has friends from different cultures. But we had to educate him and tell him, look, it's not gonna be like that in prison. There's a lot of sick, like no one. You're not gonna be able to hang out with different
Mhm.
nationalities. You're gonna have to be
Do
careful.
you feel like Hispanics are becoming more racist or less racist?
Less racist. The
Less
younger
racist.
generation, yeah.
I thought you said the
Because
younger generation is starting to say the N word.
they are, and that's what I'm saying. It's not okay. They use the excuse that because they have friends from different nationalities that they can say that. Because a couple of them told me that, and I told them, well, no, it's not okay. It's not okay for you to say that.
Okay.
But
So
you,
wouldn't that be more racist? More wouldn't that be classified as codified racism?
what do you mean by that?
I mean, if you had one generation who knew the N word vehemently, used it as a slur, and now the next generation is using it as a term of endearment, as just slang, but they also use it as a slur, wouldn't that be harder to tell who's like they're trying to hide behind their solidarity, their fake solidarity, to get away with anti-black racism? That would be codified racism, which is worse. Honestly, I'd rather deal with the wolf than the wolf in sheepskin.
No, I can agree with that.
Heard.
But
Yeah, I heard.
I would say you just don't know because like I said, I've seen. If you go look at one of my videos, you will see I went to a Laos New Year's event, which is an Asian culture New Year's event. And all the kids that I saw there playing around, teenagers, including my kid, you know, they were from all different nationalities. And they were like, I mean, they were embracing Asian culture. They were embracing the monks, you know, everything about it. And they were doing traditions that the Asians do. So that's why I say I see it now more, because kids are hanging around with different cultures, embracing their cultures. The anime culture within itself, you know, that comes from Japan. A lot of, now there's DreamCon, you know, that's a, it's mostly
Let me
black
jump in.
Americans that go to DreamCon. So
Let me jump in real quick, Anna, because what you're doing is actually you're trying to be dismissive, okay, and you're trying to belittle the significance of the racism. That's what you're doing, okay. Let's be very honest and abundantly clear, because when you talk about DreamCon, when you talk about anime, when you talk about all of this stuff, foundational Black Americans understand there is a line that we don't cross when it comes to being disrespectful to other people's groups, to other people's cultures. I mean, so as far as going to an anime event or Asian event or Japanese event or whatever the case is, we don't go there and then start squinting our eyes and then start trying to mimic how they talk and all of that stuff, because we understand that they would find that disrespectful. So we go there, and yeah, we participate in their festivities, so to whatever degree, as long as we make sure it's not done respectfully. Now, my thing is, if kids are all coming together and they're all in this big universal thing, why are the only children who are being disrespected Black? That's my only question. Because if all of these kids were all together, you should see slurs from everybody being thrown to everybody. But yet the only children who get disrespected are Black children. The only people that we have to have these conversations, because you don't have conversations about not saying Asian slurs. You don't have
Yeah.
conversations about not saying Hispanic slurs. You don't have conversations about not saying anybody else's slurs. The only
Yeah.
people that we have to have these conversations, or the only reason we have to have these conversations, is because Black people keep getting disrespected. And these
Can
people
I?
literally, hold on, sir. These people literally will tell you they're gonna say it, and just like Mexican OT, you ain't gonna do shit about it. That's what they said.
well,
So
you
let's not play like we all getting
there's
along
also,
and
no,
everybody's
but there's
confused.
still, I mean, but there is a lot of people that do get along, but there's also racism in every culture. I mean, I've seen it, I've heard it, you know, and it's not okay. You know, I think a lot of these younger generations, they're doing it because they think it's a joke, or they think it's okay, but it's not. And
Can I
that's
try to
what I'm
follow
trying
up on
to.
that?
Is she trying to
Hold
all
on.
lives matter this situation?
Yeah.
Because we're not gonna, there's other people who haven't spoken yet, and the thing is that you keep saying that they think it's a joke, they think it's okay, when they're told, even if they did, even if we gave them that, which I don't believe, but even if we gave them that, when we told them it's not okay, why do they say what you gonna do about it then?
There's not
They
enough
don't
people
do,
saying it's
they
not
don't
okay.
do
The
Yeah.
majority of us say it's
I think
not
O.
okay. The
okay, because
majority of Black people are not okay with non-Black
now
people
he's
using that
talking to
word.
himself. They don't think it's okay, because if they did think it was okay, he would be like, "Oh well, no, I mean, I thought it was cool. I thought we was all gang and everything like that." He's saying, "Hey, what you gonna do about it?" Knowing it's not okay. He wouldn't say that if he thought it was okay. He says, "What you gonna do about it, Fat Joe, Takashi
That's
69?"
why. That's why
None
we
of
don't
them
claim
think
them.
it's okay.
That's why we don't claim it. A lot of us Hispanics do not claim him because we don't like how he is.
Afro
Listen,
Elite, you put out a question. Can I try to follow up on it?
you can wait until I say something because I'm still
Sure.
talking. Okay, all right, Anna. Because you did this the last time, so we ain't even gonna waste too much time.
Yeah, excuse me, but I'm tell you what, I'm gonna go. You can drop me down, and I'll let
All right.
somebody else come up. Thank you, sir. And great panel.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. I put out a question. What question did I put out, Cruz? I don't recall putting out a question. I recall making a statement.
Yeah. So the statement was that you don't, when it comes to anime conventions, you don't see Asian people kind of like squinting their eyes at each other
No,
because
that's
it's
not. First off, that's not a question, and second off, I didn't say that. I said
um
to anime conventions, you don't see Black people going there, squinting their eyes and mimicking or mocking rather Japanese culture and Japanese Americans.
Okay. When black people used N, do they mock themselves?
No,
What the hell
Okay,
they got to do with you?
pause.
no, it,
I
no.
know. Give me a second. Give me a second. What I'm asking is the N being reclaimed by black people?
It's
Okay,
different.
hold on.
It's different. Hold on, and let me address this for everybody. Like, why do y'all use it? Because it's different when we use it. Because we have a different culture and we have a different history. Our
Exactly.
culture and our
Why
history,
do you?
our
Okay.
relationship stop. Okay, I'm gonna drop you now. Our culture, because if he's not mature enough to wait his turn to speak, our culture and our relationship to each other is different. We have a different relation as foundational Black Americans. We have a different relationship to each other. All right. So the words we can use amongst each other is a different meaning versus when you guys use it. All right. So we're not gonna play that. Well, y'all use it, so we can use it. No, we're not doing that. Let's get
Can I
to.
say this,
Go ahead, and then
Afro?
we're gonna get to my
Um,
good brother Marshall.
Remember he kept saying they're too loud or something on Instagram? It looked to me like he was trying to interview you. So I'm gonna ask him if he was recording the space. Um, Maybe live streaming to Instagram. I just wanted to put that out there. It was something that
Mm,
I noticed about him. Yeah.
Mm. He may have been actually. He kind of looked like that.
probably, yeah. Marshall, you got it. You with us? Foundational American.
Peace, family. Thank you so much for having me, Yakoki, for bringing me up on the panel. I appreciate it. For those who don't know me, Sir Chafaya, Foundational American. My name is Foundational American. I'm going to comment on what the last gentleman said, and then I'm gonna go right into the prompt if you don't mind, brother Afro Elite. How you doing,
Mm,
BX Hobol as well? Thank you so much for being a great moderator.
Thank you, Marshall.
So the gentleman tried to say, well, you guys use it, right? What's the problem, right? So the problem is, right, what we got to understand is that um, the LGBTQ community utilized the F word with
One
themselves.
moment. You gotta say like rainbow alternative.
Rainbow,
Like
I
some
wasn't
groups
sure.
are,
That's why I
yeah,
kind of had,
some
okay,
groups are
rainbow, excuse me.
protected.
I apologize. So the
Uh-huh.
rainbow
Small
community,
hats.
yeah, the rainbow community, they utilized the F word back in the day. We all used to use it back in the day, right? But that wasn't meant nothing towards them. But they told us, all right, we're gonna put some respect on our name. Let's stop utilizing that word. That's a really bad word. And what did we did? We respected it and we stopped using it. Now to this day in 2025, they continue to use it towards themselves. Are we gonna go and say, well, you guys use it, so we're gonna continue to use it? No, we're not. We're gonna. That's what they call themselves, and that's cool. That's their thing. We're not gonna disrespect and use the F word, knowing that they said they don't want us to use it. So I don't understand how people can understand that, and all of a sudden they're Ray Charles and Helen Keller when it comes down to us. So it doesn't make sense, right? And then so now I'm gonna get to the prompt. Anti-black Mexican OT, Black and Brown Coalition do not exist. I agree, it don't. If we look in history, when the gentleman, brother Vicente, seized Mexico from Spain, he allowed for the enslaved people to come down to Mexico. Because a lot of people like to say, well, Mexicans helped. They say, no. It was a melanated brother that looked like Afro Elite, brother that looked like everybody melanated on this platform that saved the enslaved people and allowed them and abolished slavery, allowed them to come down. And the YT Mexican, which was the vice president, he wanted to keep slavery. So what he did was he followed him all throughout the Mexico and unalive them from firing squad. They didn't all want to stop slavery. They actually wanted to keep slavery going. The YT Mexicans. It was the melanated uh, Mexican that wanted to stop it. So let's be clear on that. Then let's go down the history again. When the Black Panthers was there, right? We had the Young Lords, was the Puerto Rican. Shout outs to the Puerto Ricans. And then we had the Brown Berets, which both groups copied from the Black Panthers, the blueprint. Guess what the Brown Berets did? They decided to turn their backs on the Black Panther and started going down the racist route. And the Young Lords had to pretty much check them and say, hold on, how are you going to pretty much turn your backs on them? Right now, let's go down the history again. All right, so now we was on side by side, and then in California they started booming our people, ethnic cleansing them in California. Now it's the 80s, on the 80s now, ethnic cleansing, unaliving, removing people from their lands, doing all kinds of degenerate things. So what I'm saying is this. Let me just wrap it up. What I'm saying is every time we try to align ourselves with this fake coalition, this fake unity that they think they have with us, and we keep opening up our hearts and opening up our arms and trying to come and coexist with them, they turn their backs every single time. How many times are we going to continue to do things is insanity, and we continue to keep trying to side with people that continue to subscribe to whiteness, right? These are the people that literally fought in court to be YT, literally. These are the same people that had the presidents of LULAC said that the Negro problem is their problem. That's not my problem. These are the same people that said it. They had that same organization that they said that they want nothing to do with us. So how many times are we going to continue to try to side and align ourselves with people that after we help them out, they're going to go right to YT-ness anyway. So there's no correlation. It never has been a correlation. It was fake unity. I call it social unity, economic warfare. Right. And so that's my take. I try not to be too long-winded, but I appreciate you for having me up.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And this is why it's important for us to keep receipts, because they will literally come up here and lie and make it seem like we were the best of friends and we always got along. And what's crazy about it is they'll make it seem like we flipped on them. They'll make it seem like, damn, ain't we always been cool. And they'll bring up, well, what about George Floyd? And we was out there with y'all and we was doing do-da bam and all of that stuff. And then we've just flipped on them all of a sudden. They will gaslight and make it seem like none of the anti-black stuff that they've been doing ever happened. Okay.
Can I speak on that real quick, if you don't mind, brother, real quick, but 2 seconds. Yeah. Speaking of the Black Lives Matter movement, because a lot of people like to throw that out in the air to get us to jump in front of their battles. They only start going on to the movement when it became a movement. Black Lives Matter has been going on for 8 years before it became a movement. It's only when it became a movement, everyone was jumping on the Black Lives Matter movement. So when they throw that out there, yeah, it became a trend. It's something you could take a picture with, throw up, hashtag. It was something cool to be a part of be in the front. So let's not gaslight with the Black Lives Matter movement thing. And I lane.
Exactly.
And also, Black Lives Matter was more than just about actual Black lives. So, it was a lot of other agendas intertwined within Black Lives Matter, which is part of the reason why it's kind of debunked now and no Black Americans on the ground who's actually supported. But it's a lot of other intersectional agendas that was pushed with Black Lives Matter. And so they could have been all with that, but could have just been for the rainbow side of BLM, and that's why they was pushing it. You know what I'm saying? So let's just be honest. It wasn't because you actually gave a damn about Black lives. Yeah, this saying.
Yeah, exactly. They had their own agenda that they were pushing through Black Lives Matter. Right. If there was a protest, they can get out there with their own flag, and then they can start pushing their own agenda or what's in their community's best interest. Let's continue though. Appreciate everybody. Appreciate y'all hit the heart button or tap the screen. That's what I mean. I'm so used to YouTube. I'm like, press the thumbs up button. I'm used to YouTube. Yeah, hold on. Let's Anna, you have a good one. All right. We're just gonna have to let Anna go. Let me see. Bring up Halo. Let's get Ray. Ray, brother, what's on your mind, man?
Hey, how you doing? So to follow up,
hold on, just you're FBA, right?
Absolutely, I am.
Okay, we just got to say that just to keep the consistency. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I already.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me on this panel, brother, so I can speak my mind on this. So I want to follow up foundational part when he was discussing Vicente Godero. I think that's his name. I think that's the first Black president of Mexico name. Back in, because they always bring up 1829 when thousands of Black slaves fled to Mexico to escape from slavery. Basically, the Mexican government gave them an ultimatum. Basically, that if you do not fight with us in this battle against the United States of America, then we will send your behind back. So they gave them basically like an ultimatum. Like, the slaves went to Mexico to seek refuge and to seek solitude. But basically, they treated them the same way the slaves was treated in the Confederacy. Basically, the Confederacy told them that if you do not fight with us, then you will be, put back into bondage and stuff like that. So let's get that straight.
I'm gonna have to cycle you out so I can bring some other people up. Go ahead, Ray. Keep going.
Yeah. So basically, they were basically used as cannon fodder and used as pawns. They were first on the front line. They were basically first infantry. Okay, so they basically look at these black slaves as disposable. Okay, and also after 1829. Okay, years passed. In 1831, Vicente Guerrero once wanted to abolish slavery. Do you know what happened in 1831? It was an insurrection. Basically, they did not want these black slaves to have the same rights, the same equal rights as mestizo Mexicans. Okay, so that's why the black president, the first black Mexican president, was unalive. So I don't want to hear any freaking Mexican bringing up that historic that historical event, because they keep on leaving out those important facts. Okay, that right there is called lying. That what they're doing is lying. They are leaving out important facts. Okay, and also, Marshall, do you want to know a fun fact? Do you know why Mexicans wear Cortez in LA? Afro Elite, do you want to know why Mexicans wear Cortez in LA? The reason why Mexicans wear Cortez is to honor their ancestor, Herman Cortez, who was basically the father of Mejor Raza, okay? Who basically wanted to procreate and also whitewash the indigenous Mexicanos or Mexicans. That was like the correct term back then. Before they was called Mexico, it was called Mexica or something like that. So they wanted to whitewash the race. So that was basically spearheaded by Herman Cortez. Okay, so they believe in Mejor Raza because of Herman Cortez. Okay, and that's a fact. So there is no unity between black and brown people. Okay, we have been subjected to violence from Mexicans. Okay, there's been plenty of freaking racial violence, racial wars in high schools. Like a 14-year-old black girl back in 2005 was, unalived by 2 Mexican gang members for no reason, because she was black. So cut the bullcrap. There is no unity whatsoever.
I add too on Black Lives Matter. Did y'all forget about that prego woman that they unalived during that time with the protest, and all them people they threatened? They said don't bring no black Americans around here. We're gonna unalive them. No black people. Period. Y'all remember that during the whole protest of George Floyd? So they need to cut it out.
I'm glad that brother brought up that term too, because that term is not just used in Mexican culture. It's used in a lot of different Latino and Hispanic cultures. I heard that first from Dominicans, actually.
Well,
so yeah, that's very, very prevalent in their culture.
Mejor Raza? Yeah. Oh, and one more thing about the N-word. Listen, I've been wanting to touch on this for a long time. If you do not have any cultural or heritage to that word, if your lineage is not really tied to that word, you should not be using it whatsoever, because that word is a sign of term of endearment. When I look at Afro Elite, when I call him the N-word, it's basically like a sign of brotherhood, because he has to jump through hurdles, and go through trials and tribulations to make it in white tea America, because this is a white tea man's world, bro. So it's a sign of brotherhood and sisterhood. Okay.
Can I say something real quick? Because I gotta go back to work. But I just want to say, like, the obsession to me personally, why is everybody gotta mimic everything we do? Even if we make the word blue popular, they're gonna go right behind us and say the same thing and do the same thing we do. Y'all say all this bad stuff about us, but mimic every little thing we do. Like, if we tell y'all not to do something, you have a whole tantrum, a whole little child tantrum, because you gotta do what we do. You just have to do it. And to me personally, for you to even want to say the word, that just shows that you want to be more like us. You want to be us. Because why else would you want to say the word? What else would you want to mimic black culture so bad? Black American culture, because I don't like saying black culture no more. I like saying black American culture, because specifically black American culture, because we do
Facts.
have a culture, and our culture is not African.
Facts.
So yeah, so me personally, you said yourself, oh well, we're waving your flag around so proudly, but next time we turn around, you're crying because somebody told you, please don't say that word. Why is you saying it? It's weird. It's cringy. It's cringy coming out his mouth. It's very cringy. Watching this man say the N word, it makes it like anybody that look like they even. I mean, because I feel like if you ain't even of this land, you shouldn't even say it anyway. But what's worse is you got all white tea skin and you over here saying the N word. Like you, and then look at his whole gesture. Look at his whole little you dig. It came from who? Black Americans. Wow. Well, if you so proud of being Mexican, won't you just go around and call each other beans?
Okay, hello.
Oh my bad, I didn't mean to say that. Beans as in you eat beans, like the beans you eat, lima beans. Lima beans, TikTok. Lima beans.
What you mean. But I mean, as far as that energy, and when Anna came up and was all like, "Oh, well, kids get along and kids get together and they start playing and all of that stuff," notice how the N word is literally the only word.
Okay, I gotta go, y'all.
Have these conversations about, and they will. And I'm not saying that we just letting them know. They will literally fight us to say it, like they have some type of right to say it. They are fighting for their right to use this one word. No other word do they fight for, okay? They're fighting to use the N-word almost as hard as they're fighting not to go back to Mexico. I think that that's funny. Let's, let me see. Miss Shauna.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm FBA.
All right. What's on your mind?
I was just calling talking to you all because I wanted to say that I was born and raised in California and now I live in Texas. And I have never seen a black and brown coalition ever. I mean, growing up in California, we automatically knew stay out of their neighborhood because if not, there was going to be trouble. You know what I'm saying? So it's never been that. And I remember one time, in middle school, that there was a guy who he was FBA and he got caught in a Latino neighborhood. They chased him down and stabbed him, and he was 12 years old. He went to school with me. He went to my middle school, and he was in a hospital for a while after that. And so that really let me know, okay, keep your distance. And even now, living in Texas, there is no alliance. Now, there are some people that are cool. That is true. But as a collective, they do not like us. They have never liked us. And I'm 53 years old, and I've never experienced to where a collective of them care for us, really. And if they're going to treat the people of color or black people in their own country bad, what makes you think that they will not do that to us? I was studying Spanish for a while, and I did a program to where I stayed in Panama for like a month. And it was me and another lady who was FBA, and we would go out to eat. And it was another girl, she was there too. She was mixed with something. It wasn't FBA, but she was Caribbean, but she looked mixed. She looked Hispanic, but she was not. We would go out to eat. They would refuse to talk to me and the other FBA lady, and they would only talk to her. So I don't know where this coalition is coming from because I've never seen it. And I have a problem when I hear people say, oh, my friends, they said it's okay. Well, it's 40 million of us here. We're not all your friends, and everybody's not going to think that it's okay. And you're going to come across the wrong people one day, and then what's going to happen? You know what I'm saying? I think it's just a recipe for disaster. And instead of just saying, if someone tells you, I don't want you to say that, instead of just saying, okay, you want to defend it and make us believe that you saying it is okay. And we're telling you it's not okay. And so that's what I have a problem with.
Yeah. Now, you said you're from Texas, right?
No, I'm from California, but I live in Texas now.
Okay. I just want to check and see. Well, yeah, it's not. And they know it's not. They know it's not. We've never gotten along, and they keep trying to make it seem like we've always gotten along. That's never been the case. That's never been the case. Let me get you. Let me see. You've been waiting. S. Randall Thomas.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing? Your race and ethnicity, please, sir.
Um, I really don't subscribe to that, but for all intents and purposes, I'm just like you.
I'm
You
sorry,
know what that
sir. My
means. What does that
sister.
mean, sir?
hmm
I'm what you would call FBA.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Can we find your ancestors in the United States of America between 1863 through 1865 and found on the
I
1870
can trace
census?
both sides of my family back to the late 1500s, right here in the Northeast region, Maryland, Pennsylvania,
Cool.
coming up to New York, where I'm from.
hmm
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So, what's on your
Yeah.
mind?
Well, a few things, man. A few things. This thing about them and the Hispanic dude or the Mexican dude that want to get into the word, using the word, and his inability to understand why they can't use it. I mean, if I'm sitting around a bunch of sisters and they not even angry, they friends, and they throwing around the B word to each other, that don't mean I could jump in there and start calling them or start
Mm-hmm.
using that word, referring to women that way, you know? They're disingenuous when they say that they don't understand why they can't use it. And I want to say to all of them Hispanics and actually all foreigners and immigrants, don't. I'm tired of hearing y'all talk about your cousin, your best friend, a couple of people you went around. Because I don't look at this issue that way. This ain't about individuals. As a community, y'all ain't never been our friends. As a people, as a whole, as a community, you never been our friends. So why are you talking about, oh well, my kid I got two black friends or a couple of my black best friends are black. Come on, stop it with that nonsense. And again, the older brother who was in here said it too. There's no immigrant, there's no foreigner that's ever come to this land to be our friends, to ally with us. So it ain't like that. And another thing, I wish we would stop saying black and brown because we ain't black and they certainly ain't brown. I don't know how the color changed like that. They aren't brown people. I don't get it. But anyway, um, yeah, I'll land right there, man. We need to stop this nonsense. We ain't never been friends, and like you said, brother, it ain't that turned our backs on them. They ain't never allied with us. We've always had our arms open to every fucking body that came to this country, whether they be Russians, Asians, Chinese, Indian, Hispanic, from anywhere in the world, from the Caribbean, from Africa. We've always, to this day, you go around and you'll see some of us in every community trying to ally and be friends with some of them. Ain't nobody ever came here to be our friends. Not a single one of them. None of them.
Mm, that's true, and they let it be known. It's only us, and to be honest, it's too many who go above and beyond to try to make some type of friendship, to try to create some type of friendship and a bridge between the black community and the brown or the Asian or the this or the that. We're the only ones doing that, and they keep burning the bridge every time. Okay, so now when they need to cross the bridge, ain't no bridge. Now, that's all we doing now. Ain't no bridge no more. Y'all kept burning it. Ain't no bridge no more. Let's get to art of Uraza. Use how you say your name?
Uzara.
Uzara. Art of Uzara.
Yes, sir.
Your race and ethnicity, please, sir.
I am an FBA. And I'm
Right.
black. But
All right.
I said when I joined the live, was around when that woman was talking about how the younger generation was what I'm saying, like allowing these other, like people to say these words, and then like coming from somebody that's part of the young generation, what I'm saying, and then like where I'm from, like I honestly have seen personally, I have seen like black individuals allow this to happen around them. So I can honestly say it's the younger generation, what I'm saying? We're not shaking stuff no more, what I'm saying? We're letting people just say things without nothing happening, what I'm saying? So I feel like that's the main thing that we need to be really like addressing, because like I say y'all old heads and stuff, and so y'all checking it back in the day, what I'm saying? Y'all was doing it back in the day, what I'm saying? Somebody said that, what I'm saying? They getting popped in the mouth automatic. But nowadays, what I'm saying, like in 2025, what I'm saying, with these young kids, they are not checking none of that junk, bro. You know what I'm saying? They're letting all that junk slide because they don't care about that. You know what I'm saying? They caring about, you know what I'm saying, like being a rapper. You know what I'm saying? What's the next brand dropping out? You know what I'm saying? What's the next shoes that's coming out? You know what I'm saying? They ain't worrying about, you know, like if they're like Black History. You know what I'm saying? They ain't worried about, you know, listening to Farrakhan or like stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they ain't trying to hear none of that. Because I've been in a situation where I tried to preach to these young kids. You know what I'm saying? And they do not want to hear this. You know what I'm saying? But I land right there though.
Yeah. Where are
Can
you
I
from?
enter
What
this?
state are you from?
Sorry.
And then I'm gonna let BXX.
I am from Alabama. That's in Lower Alabama.
Okay, all right.
Uh, I, I think that when it comes to the younger generation, so I have more than one child. I have more than one son. One son may say or not say, but my youngest son, the youngest child, says don't say that around me. So I think we should enter some with the younger generation because I got to tell you, being on this app, I have met some beautiful, respectful Black American young adults because I'm 50. They put the title of elder on me, like they really, really are respectful and they keep boundaries. For the lineage. So I think it's important to know that some of our youth may go along to get along, and others may stand on business. Also, I want to enter this into the chat as we move forward. Even somebody who migrated to New York from California, and she's kind of puzzled by this by certain dynamics. She notices what I notice. They stay in more than we ever do. It's like their vocabulary. They're not happy unless they say that word. They could be talking on the phone to their family and it's inward, 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 inward. And I'm going to land here. We were kind of trying to get some youth into check because they were throwing balls at doors and we didn't want any issues, right? And as we're discussing it, the Latino man had it. You know, I was feeling everything he was saying to the young child, and just for no reason, the N word. And I was faced with, dang, do I check in? And then, you know what I'm saying? So I just was like, oh, dang, I got to let it go. Because it was very, very, like he had his dog out. He was really ready to act, to stick it on the kids. And then he was giving them a lecture. And then next thing I know, N-word, for no reason, N-word, N-word.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh my God. So they do tend to use it more than foundational Black Americans do, Afro.
Let me, and they do use excessively. It's like it's a weird thing. They have an issue. And let me say this about
Mm-hmm.
the youth and culture, because a lot of people I feel like give the younger generation a hard time, and I'm saying this as I'm under 30, and I'm saying this. The culture is supposed to be protected and gate kept by the older generation. Okay, the younger generation is supposed to learn from example by the older generation. Now I'm not like old, but I would consider myself to be like in the big brother or big cousin age. You know what I'm saying? So it's our job to just set the example, which is what we're doing right here, setting the example that this is inappropriate. Because when we start set the example that this is inappropriate, that this is disrespectful, and that this shouldn't be allowed, that will start to register in the minds of the younger generation. You understand what I'm saying? That this is unacceptable and it shouldn't be allowed. Because preaching all the time to what the younger, and I'm not saying you are doing that, I'm just giving a lesson of preaching about y'all shouldn't be doing this, y'all shouldn't be doing this, y'all shouldn't be doing this. That's going to turn into resentment and rebellion from the younger generation. Okay, I feel like, and this is something that I've experienced from the older generation, I feel like showing an example and showing what the culture is, how important it is, and how important gatekeeping it and protecting its sanctity is going to register a lot better with the younger generation instead of preaching to them the responsibility without showing them the importance of that. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's crazy, brother? If you don't mind.
Yeah, yeah. And then we're gonna get to Mando.
No problem. I can't blame it on the younger generation because I know some of the younger generation that I know that don't say that word at all. They don't play about that word. they are. I mean, when I say a lot of the because of the age of information that we have right now, it kind of bridged that knowledge gap when it comes down to the internet. So a lot of them are stepping up and saying, "Hold on, no, we're not doing that word." Well, I think what it is that a lot of people are listening to the rap and they are in their own isolated communities outside of Black Americans, right? So let's say California has a huge, I think it's what 40% Mexicans over there, 50%, something crazy high. And they in their own community saying it to themselves, like the Samoans out there. They say it to themselves in their own communities, right? They don't even be around Black people like that. You can even say it to them. So this is what's going on. They're saying it in their own community because had they be around or had been around a lot of Black people, we checking that at the door. I know I am. I always have since I lived in the Bronx, New York. Right in New York, I was checking that at the door. People knew, do not say that word around him. I don't care if you say it. Anybody else, if you want to be around a weak Black American that allow you to say that, cool. Me, I'm not. We not doing that. So yeah. So I think they're in their own communities, and then that's where they feel like safe and in the comfort that they community saying. And I land.
Yeah, like I'm saying, and that's why I said that there's really no difference between the Mexicans in Cali and the Mexicans in Tennessee and the Mexicans in Texas. I mean, and the Mexicans in New York. They just feel their level of comfortability is different because their percentage is different.
Yeah.
Let's get. What? What's up?
I was gonna say, do you think that the solution is violence? Like in order to get your point across, you have to attack it in a physical way because they say that actions speak louder than words. So do you think that one of the solutions is violence by training your children? Hey, if a kid keeps calling you this word, okay, knock the tooth about it. Okay, knock one of their teeth out. Like train them in boxing, MMA, you know, because we do dominate boxing and MMA. You know, we're very physical, and in NFL.
Well, okay.
You
To
gotta
be
keep
as
it legal.
careful
You
as
gotta keep it
possible.
legal.
To be as
Yeah, we gotta
careful as
keep it
possible.
legal.
This platform does not promote or condone or justify violence whatsoever. That being said, when a non-black person calls you the N-word, that should be taken as a threat. And if it's taken as a threat, I will say you should have the right, you do have the right to defend yourself if somebody is racial, because they're racially attacking you. Okay, that's a verbal assault. Those are fighting words. When they use a slur against your people, you and your people, those are fighting words. Just like if somebody said, "I'm gonna hit you," you don't have to wait for them to hit you before you defend yourself. If they use a slur against you, that can be seen as a hate crime. That can be seen as a racial threat, a racialized threat, and it's up to you to protect yourself from these racial threats. So it's really just a self-defense thing. And I think with more instances of self-defense, I think that they'll learn that way that they shouldn't be saying.
And
Yeah,
even
that's
though
just
Yup.
even in a job side, brother, because even like if for the passive people, not everybody going to be able to fight, but on the job aspect of it, right? You can just let the HR know that they're utilizing these words, and they can get fired. You know, and if the HR don't, take action after 3 times reporting it, you can sue that job and make a bag off that, right? So it don't always have to be violent. You can hit them with the passive, HR and job. But I'll land on that. I don't know. You got a full panel.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Sure.
Thank
Let's
you, man.
get to Mondo. Mondo, your race and ethnicity, please, sir. Going once. We got people requesting. Going twice. All right. Oh, Mondo's not there. Since Mondo's not there, let's get to Jonathan Cruz. Okay. Unrelated, I assume, to the other Cruz that was up here.
Yeah, what's up, big dog?
Okay. What's on your mind? Wait, what's your race and ethnicity?
I'm Mexican, from Dallas, Texas.
Are you a white Mexican?
I don't know what you say, white man. I mean, Native American and Spanish. I mean, that's.
Well,
I mean,
Spain is in Europe. They're white, so.
Yeah, see, I mean, it is what it is, right? Can't
Okay.
pick where my answers
I
are
swear
from.
to God, every single last one of y'all come up here and act like y'all don't know. Every single one of y'all come up here and act like y'all don't know.
Because I ain't
Like
worried
I'm
about that, dog.
Mexican, knowing damn well that is not. Y'all know, all y'all know it's not a race. But you, Anna, the other crews, the other guys, Jonathan, Jose, all of y'all came up here and be like Mexican.
All right,
Well, I'm not. Okay, all right. Go ahead,
yeah,
Jonathan.
so we'll leave it as it is, man. But no, I get you what you said. Anti-black Mexican OT. I mean, I don't think Mexican OT should have said what he said, man. But because I don't use the word. I mean, when I was young, hanging out with my homeboys, I mean, we used it. But after I got older, I stopped using it. I don't really, I'm against using the word. You know what I'm saying? That's just the way I look at it. You know what I'm saying? And then same thing with the protest too, man. I mean, if people want to, ride with us, that's cool. If not, it's understandable. But because I work in criminal justice, I work in corrections for juvenile, and I seen all these young cats, like the guy was mentioning using the N word and stuff like that. I mean, when I'm there, I tell them that, hey, don't use it. Just be respectful with your peers. That's what I tell them. But I don't, respect using that word no more. Just if you are, then it's cool. But the thing about it is, in Texas, sometimes we can grow up in the hood and we just get too comfortable saying it. Like you could live in South Dallas, Oak Cliff, and then you could be the only Mexican in the hood. So sometimes we get too used to saying it.
Mm.
Can I ask Jonathan a question?
You said what? Who's speaking?
Oh, me. I was wondering if I can ask Jonathan a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Do you think that if Mexicans were to instead of moving into the black community, into a poverty-stricken, predominantly black community, instead of moving into our neighborhoods, if they move into a white tea neighborhood and become, I would say, conform to their ideals and their culture, do you think that a lot of Mexicans would stop, try to talk like us, walk like us, use our same vernacular, our same, ebonics? Do you think y'all would stop, cosplaying as us if you were to move into a predominantly white tea community?
I mean, y'all saying like if we against each other, we hate y'all. I mean, not everybody's like that. I ain't the same Mexican as my neighbor next door. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I grew up in the hood. You know what I'm saying? I grew up with black folks, Mexican folks.
I like that. Appreciate you. I'm gonna be patient.
I mean, that's the way I look at it. I mean, fuck the rest, fuck what everybody else thinks. I'm here for everybody. Even my dad too. My dad's Mexican American. I grew up in that lowrider, Chicano culture, alongside, with African American.
Let me say this. You said that there's a Mexican who might have grew up around black people, and he's used to saying that word. Do you feel like that makes the word less racist if he grew up around black people?
I mean, it depends on how y'all look at it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they could be.
No, I'm asking you.
I mean, no, I don't mean. It depends on how you use it. Like, it's like if you black and you in a Mexican neighborhood, we gonna fuck with you, man. That's how when I was a kid.
Okay.
I mean,
so you feel like it's less racist if they have black friends?
Yeah, it ain't racist because some of them are cool. I seen homeboys that used it along them, and they use it back and forth. Black and Mexican.
I'm gonna say it ain't racist because we're not white and we didn't.
Hold on. You're gonna wait to speak. All right. That's what you're gonna do.
Yeah, you got to ask. Like I'm about to ask Afro right now.
Okay. All right. So that makes it so the word is racist or not racist because it can't be. There's no gray area. Is the word racist for Mexicans to use or is it not?
I'm gonna say it like this. I'm gonna say, it depends on your prerogative. What's it called? What's that shit called again?
Prerogative. Please,
yeah,
y'all stay on mute. I want to point something out after he finished.
Okay, so it depends on your prerogative. Now, you first came out and said that you don't say the word. Why don't you say the word?
Because, I'm Mexican. I don't use it. You know what I'm saying? I used to use it when I was younger. I'm not going to lie.
You used to use it, and then you stopped using it. Why did you stop?
Because it's maturity, man. Because, I work in corrections. I work with I'm going to be honest with you. In corrections, man, where I work at is nothing but blacks and Hispanics. I seen them get along. I seen them use it back and forth.
Hold on. But okay. You stopped using it at work or you stopped using it, period?
I stopped using it once I got older, man. When like what after like between high school and into college, I
Okay, and
stopped using it.
why did you stop using it?
Cause it's maturity, man. And, you
No,
gotta stop
it's
talking about
not.
the
No, it's not because it's maturity. Because
Nah, dog, how you gonna tell me? How you know me? You don't know me though. You know where
no,
I'm from.
because there's words you still use. You still speak English,
Yeah, I speak
and
English.
every word you spoke as when you were a kid, you still speak today, except the N word or a few other words. So why'd you stop? You can't say, oh, because of quote unquote maturity.
I mean, I stopped using, hey, what's up, fool? I stopped talking like, stop using that. I stopped using the N word. I stopped changing the way my speech is. I changed it up.
Mm-hmm.
With some of the homeboys, I told we chop it up.
Now you also said, okay, so y'all see, let them talk and they'll go. So you also said if you heard Hispanics using it, you would tell Hispanics to be respectful, right?
Yeah, of course. Hey,
So you do feel like that word is disrespectful, right?
Unless if they cool with it, then I'm like, okay.
No, I mean it's either respectful or disrespectful.
I mean that's why you try to interrupt me. I'm trying to tell you because I work in this shit. I work in corrections. How you gonna tell me? I see this shit.
I'm asking. I'm not telling you anything. I'm asking because you're kind of going all over the place. You said you grew up with it, then you stopped using it. Now you're saying that you said you corrected people from using it. Now you're saying that you don't feel like the word is bad.
Yeah, I mean, like
so
I said,
I'm asking. My thing is that if you used to use it, you said you claim you stopped using it, and now you claim that you address people and you prevent people from using it, but yet you refuse to admit that the word is bad.
And I see where you're going from here, man. I see what you're doing, man. But anyways, like I'm gonna tell you,
I'm asking you a question. I'm trying to get your logic. I don't see where you're going.
Well, let me get to it then. If you're gonna keep,
all right, go ahead.
All right,
sure. I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm gonna just let you go.
Like I said, at work, I tell them, hey man, don't use the word, man. Just be respectful. And then they be telling me, oh, Mr. Cruz is fine. He cool with it, man. We don't, hey, it's fine. We don't trip about it. I'm like, okay. But just I don't want to hear you, you'll be arguing about it, later on. Because I don't use the word no more. Like I said, I just stopped because I got older. I stopped talking the way I do. I mean, I only talk a certain way when I'm with my homeboys. You just gotta learn when to say things, and it's with who and who not to use it with. But I don't talk.
So do you still use it?
I don't.
Okay. And you said be respectful. Be respectful. How would the word be disrespectful?
Because sometimes people take offense to it. That's what I'm saying.
So do you feel like the word is disrespectful?
And not just even that word, even cussing in general. I mean, that's and corrections when I work with youth. Because I work with juvenile in general. Like not even the N, not even FU, not the B word. None of that.
So is the N word look at how hard he's fighting it. Is the N word disrespectful?
Fighting what, bro? Ain't nobody fighting it.
Is the N word disrespectful?
Shit, I mean, yeah, I guess, yo, yeah, I guess so.
Yes, you guess.
He guessed. Wow.
Okay.
So
I'm from Texas. We look at it differently, man. Because I don't know where you from. In Texas, we different though. I'm just saying, like.
Okay.
No, I don't. Let me say this for the people that saying Texas is different, this and that. There are Texans actually in the chat saying not agreeing with y'all.
More
But
from
I wanted
Texas
to
though.
ask.
More from Texas though. Are they from Texas though?
Hold on. I just said Texans in the chat. But I want to ask you a question. Can you tell me why the hood is named the hood?
I'm sorry?
Why is the hood named the hood? Like, why do you call it the hood?
Because that's where it's food deserts, it's poverty, not that many jobs out that way. You look at the demographic rates, you look at the income, you look at all that stuff. And that's when you realize if it's the hood. Like I can tell you from Dallas, Oak Cliff, Pleasant Grove, East Dallas, North Dallas.
Okay, no, wait. So why do you automatically associate those things with black people? Like when you say, yeah, I'm from the hood, or you use it as an excuse, kind of, and it sort of insinuates that it's all black people there, so it has to be
It's
labeled the
mixed.
hood.
It's Mexican that live in that hood, African Americans. It's a little bit of minority people that live in those neighborhoods.
That's not what she said.
I mean, she's asking my question. We're talking about it now, right? She's answering.
No, that's not what you said. You said you grew up in the hood. What does that have to do with black people?
Well, what are you talking about, dog? You're trying to use my words against me, like
yeah,
I'm trying to.
You said it. You said you grew up in the hood, and what BX is saying is that you're making the hood synonymous with black people. How does
I
that
didn't say
have
black
anything
people.
to do with black people?
But who says black people though? I'm saying I could say
Then why'd you
Mexicans
bring up the hood?
because I'm telling you where I'm coming from. You know what I'm saying? Like
What does it matter to me if you grew up in a poor neighborhood?
I'm trying to tell you, about how I used to use it in the past with some of my homeboys that are mixed with Mexican and black, or just it was mostly that's what it was. That's who I grew up with. I grew up with black
Okay.
on the field.
And that's
No,
why you
so
said the hood, because you're associating the hood with black people, correct?
I didn't say that. You're saying that.
You didn't have to say that. That's the point you made.
I'm saying that Hispanics live in that same neighborhood too. Like in Pleasant Grove, it's 50
Yeah, but
50.
there are there not hoods full of Hispanics with it's just Hispanics there?
That is a
With
little
your
different.
definition of the hood, there are hoods just full of
I mean,
Hispanics. With
yeah,
that
that's
definition,
true.
there are
That's
hoods
true. That's in
full
Hey,
of just
I
white
want you to
people,
ask
right?
me the same questions, bro, because I
I
got
want you
different
to shut the
answers.
fuck up. Damn.
I ain't never see Afro like that. You
Kept
know he
doing that.
annoying.
I never heard you curse like that ever. Damn.
Yeah, he was fiending though.
Afro, do not let the devil use you. Do not let
Huh.
the devil use you. Please.
Okay.
Be
nah,
better,
but
my brother. Be
But
better.
but the
can I
thing
be
is,
honest
man,
with you, Afro? I don't think he's being honest because
No,
as
he's not. He's being very disingenuous.
somebody that's also in corrections, they do not get along in corrections. I don't know why he sat up here and said that Spanish and black people get along in corrections
I
when
work in
they
it. I never really see
So,
guys though, man. That's what I'm
sir,
saying. I'm trying
sir,
to tell you.
sir, you talking to somebody that's in it too, sir.
How
So
the I'm
please,
in Texas though. I'm
right.
in Dallas though. Where you
so
from? Florida?
again. I listen. I don't want to. I gave you a space to talk. So please don't talk
No,
over me.
I'm just telling you though.
So
You
Let me
act like
tell
you
you
haven't.
1 minute, Jonathan, 1 minute. So Afro, when I brought up the question, because we noticed that he was using AAVE, right? So we know Black Americans, we know we give everything a nickname. So I wanted to know if he was using words from our vernacular that he didn't understand the meaning, but we got a bigger lesson out of that. That they equate Black people to poverty when we have more living in like middle and upper class than we do impoverished. But y'all just seem to highlight the negative stuff. So hood is actually just a short way to say neighborhood. And it's a shame because just like you was bringing up the hood and how everybody lives there, we're the face of the hood, right? And when nobody talks about the hood, especially when they talk about crime, it's not only are immigrants and poor white tea people in there, but so is immigrant and poor white tea people crime. And that's just something I want to plant in everybody's head because I'm tired of being the face of everything.
yeah,
That's deemed with poverty, crime. I'm tired of it. So we got to point this stuff out.
But you guys are saying like the
I'm a
Hispanics
land.
are like the bad guys. Shit, we get treated the
nah.
same way. If we go to an
It,
Asian store, if you go
You know
to
what it is? It's the way you
it,
said it, right? When you said that when they said about the N word, you made it seem like you said no. I grew up in the hood when they in regards to N word, you right? So you made the hood synonymous with black people. Your experiences with black people is the reason why you said you was using the N word. So it's not because you saying you grew up in the hood because of YT or Spanish or anybody else. You was using that as a way to say this is why you were saying the N word, and that's what people caught, and that's what people are catching. Is what
but
I'm
I'm
trying to tell
saying,
you.
but growing up, we never were told, hey, no, that's wrong. Because some of my homeboys were cool. They would say it back to me.
Wait,
We
hold
never
on.
had any issues. That's what I'm
Hold on,
trying to tell
Jonathan.
you.
Jonathan, let me ask you a question. Are you a millennial or a Gen Z?
2000.
You a baby ass. Okay, he's a Gen Z, so I kind of understand because there are a lot of kids that grew up, like him with that same mentality. Okay, because they're young, they don't really. I really hate to use this freaking term. Okay, they really don't be seeing race like that, and I've been looking at these freaking young bulls like in North Philly with the freaking like the Puerto Ricans and the freaking blacks, like they be using it left and right all the time because they're young and dumb and stupid with no goddamn guidance. So I kind of understand where he's coming from because he's 25 years old, born in 2000. He's a Gen Z, so like he doesn't really know the historical context behind the N word. Like he's not to disrespect you, brother, but you're very ignorant when it comes to the N word because you didn't grow up in a Black American household. You are a
He's not.
mestizo
It's,
Mexican.
it's
But I'm
more than
saying,
just
I
being
don't want to.
ignorant.
growing
He's a
up,
liar. That's what he is.
who me? You
That's
talking
Yeah,
about
I
it.
me?
don't want to
He's
give.
a
For me, I
liar.
don't want to
This
give the
man has
olive
been
branch.
coming up
Okay.
here being inconsistent and lying the whole time. I'm not gonna sit up there and act like you don't
Nah,
know what
you
you're
act
doing.
like it's
I'm not
against
gonna sit up
Mexicans and
here and
blacks.
no.
Why?
Now you're
We can see
done.
by
You're
the
done.
Arabs,
We
everybody.
spent enough time on you. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna sit up here and act
Can I
like
go
he
now?
don't. Hold on, we're not gonna do, because when he first came up here saying he grew out of the word, he used to use the word, now he checked people from using the word, he stopped people from using the word. But then after saying that, and they always say that to let it be known that they're not hostile, they're not an enemy. Then here comes the excuse for his community. He always does that to give himself the whole, well, I'm not one of them, I'm on you guys' side. And then he tries to excuse the anti-black racism from his community, which is why I kept going back and forth. Is it wrong to use it? Well, it's your prerogative. Well, is it wrong? Well, I mean, it depends on how you say it. Is it wrong? Well, I grew up in the hood. Is it wrong? Notice he cannot say that it was wrong or disrespectful to use the N-word. I said, didn't you say that you correct people from using the N-word? Well, yeah, I did, but I correct people from cursing too. So when I checked him on that, he refused to admit that the N-word was disrespectful, was inappropriate, or was wrong, even though initially he came up here and started talking about how he stopped using the N-word and he stops other people from using the N-word. And when I say, well, if you stop other people from using the N-word, it's disrespectful, right? Well, I mean, it depends. Man, no, we're not doing it. No.
Yeah.
And 25 is old enough for that nigga to know the history of the word. Voluntary ignorance is not an excuse.
Yeah.
Sorry. Pick
Thank
up a
you.
book, nigga, and read. What are we talking
Yeah,
about?
I was gonna say the same thing. There's no excuse, and we got the age of the internet where kids know LeBron James clothing, numbers, stats, everything. They know, they can tell you everything about NBA, can tell you everything about sports. They can tell you everything with the age of the internet. There's no excuse at all. I'm not giving no olive branch to nobody, especially they're 25 years old.
Facts. Oh, Jay Ski, you racist Dominican motherfucker. So you.
Oh, Jay Ski. Okay.
Wait, Ray. I'm full aware. We just had our falling out on Shavu's panel the other day. But the cussing, please. The
Sorry about
cussing.
that. That's
That's
silly
all.
of me.
Yes. Thank
So
you.
Jay Ski is Dominican and he used the N word all the time every day. So for some reason nigga knees is his second language. So I want to understand, why do you feel the need to use the N word as a part of your daily life? Jay Ski, can you please come off mic?
So I was gonna come up here and say some other shit because I be seeing these lies forever. But you know what? Finally, I'm gonna agree with everybody here. You right. You damn right. We shouldn't be together. I was trying to say, yo, we won because I grew up in New York City. That's how we is. But I guess some New Yorkers in here, there's always a few bad apples, I guess, and this is it right here. But you know what I'm saying? I agree.
Wait a minute. What do you mean bad apples and this is it? Are you saying that we who are saying that you or Latinos shouldn't say the N word are the bad
No,
apples?
I'm not talking about that. That's some dumb shit. I don't want to talk about that. I'm talking about the
The
unity
cussing,
that you guys
please,
been
please,
talking
the
about.
cussing.
The unity that you guys been talking about. I agree. I'm gonna finally agree with you. We shouldn't have unity. We shouldn't have any unity. I've been coming to these
We don't
lives that
need
y'all
your
been doing for
permission
two
not to
weeks.
unify with
For
y'all because
two
you can't
weeks, I've been
unify
coming
with
to this
wasn't
live.
together.
I've been coming to this live and saying, "Yo, we won. We won." I can't talk
You
for
saying we?
Mexicans.
Who is we?
We
Who is
Latin
we?
people. Wait,
Who is we?
hold on.
No, no,
I
don't
can't
tell
talk
me
for
to hold on.
Mexicans.
No, you don't tell me to hold
I
on.
can't.
Who is we? You said we won. Who is we? Okay, now you're gone. Okay, I didn't kick him out. He's gone. Talking about some we won. Somebody's door is very loud and creepy, like a haunted movie.
And I don't think anyone said we don't need unity. I heard, from what I've been hearing, the general consensus is that there is no unity. There's been a fake black and brown coalition, a one way street of quote unquote unity. So he already came up here sounding like he was about to say some bullshit.
Let's see. Okay, now we're gonna get you that mother, that mother of two.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hey, so I'm young, like I'm Gen Z. So my perspective on this is just like Race and my ethnicity, please. experience. 1 minute. Race and ethnicity, please. That Oh, mother. Race and
Oh,
ethnicity, please.
I'm FBA.
Thank you.
My mama FBA, daddy FBA. And they grew up in two different hoods. My mom from New York, my father from Newark. So my connection off. So I don't know if I'm glitching.
Yeah, I
But
can see the bars are
yeah.
red for whatever reason.
And I grew up in Newark, so the way they are over here is like, I'm not gonna hold you. It be the black men that be allowing this stuff to happen. Like they be
Mm.
giving them the
One
green
moment,
light.
y'all.
Hold on, let it. I want to say something after that
I
because
just want to say Newark is Jersey for those who don't know.
okay.
Because she
Go
said
ahead.
Newark. Yes,
Black men.
that's
Go
New
ahead. Go
York
ahead.
and Jersey.
Yeah, like they allow it.
Mm-hmm.
A black woman would say, some black women too, I'm not gonna hold you, and they just allow this young. And I'm just like, and then on top of that, you see how we so quick to share our culture with them. I have two kids, and they're both Puerto Rican and black. And I have asked the grandparents, oh, can you teach me, how to, your cultural foods? Like, teach them how to learn how to Spanish, I had to do all that myself. I had to go learn Spanish with them. I had to do that myself because they would not teach me, but they want to know how to do edges, they want to learn all that. They would expect me to let them say the N word, like, that shit is crazy. But then it's like, you won't try to teach some motherfucker what we were really supposed to be teaching these kids. You want to teach, the brown, they do what they trying to say we got. When it ain't, that ain't shit, that shit ain't that. Motherfucker just want to get in the club. I'm sorry for cursing. This is my first time on live, so I'm not like this. I'm new to this, but yeah. From my experience, I feel like they should not be able to be saying this word. Because if y'all want to make this jungle how y'all want to make it is, I know a lot of y'all words, but I'm have more respect for y'all and my baby's culture. I'm not gonna stoop down that low. I'm not gonna do that. I got two beautiful daughters, and they deserve to. But that's just how I feel.
Okay.
Yeah, I love stuff. I
Let
love
me
talking about stuff like this.
let me address something that you said, and this is something that I've heard other people say before. Like black men have allowed it to be used, and I'm not going to sit up here and say that's untrue. Unfortunately, that is true to a degree. I will say, as far as foundational, because when we say black men, we just tend to say, well, any man who's racially black. But what we're starting to figure out is that most of the permission to use that word that's been given away has been done by non-FBA. You know what I'm saying? It's really a lot of non-FBA who argue on them being able to use it or who give them a pass because they don't have the cultural history with that word. So that's why you'll have like a Myron Gaines or somebody who's racially classified as black, but they're not FBA, so they don't feel no type of way with a Hispanic using that word, or with a white person using that word, or with anybody else using that word as well too. It's a lot of that, and I gotta say that he said it, and it was nothing but women around him saying it. So everybody's all like, it was black men allowed them to use it, and I'm not saying you meant to do this, but that can create like some type of gender issue. And I'm not saying you meant to do it, but clearly it's not just a men thing. Clearly gatekeeping, because you can't just gatekeep only the men gatekeep. Men and women also have to simultaneously practice cultural gatekeeping. And this is why delineating is so important, because it was Chloe Trapper, the one who asked him about it. She's the one who asked him about it, and she's not Black American. She's not FBA. The host is not FBA. So none of them really took issue with him saying it. And this is why when we talk about delineating and things like that, people want to say that's divisive or xenophobic or whatever. But this is why. Because you all allow infiltrate and you guys allow disrespect under the guise of we're all black. And then we, as the culture, we have to fight that off because it's been allowed and permitted by people from outside our culture. Okay. Somebody says Sauce Walka, is non-FBA either. That makes sense because he was out here defending Mexican OT as well too. It's a lot of the not unless I want this to be known. Most of the people who are allowing it, and not even just allowing it, because I've seen some FBA who just real cool. I think they cool, but most of the ones who are defending them using it publicly are non-FBA. Okay, because even if a FBA allows a non-black person to use it, they understand the word is still offensive. So they might not be offended, but they wouldn't argue with black people about their permission to use it. The people that you see arguing with other black people about Hispanics' ability to use that word are non-FBA.
Just like the brother Stylebender. Remember Stylebender jumped in front because Dana White, I think Dana White utilized the N word, and Stylebender was African. He jumped in front to let it be known that he got the right to use it, even though he's African. That's a prime example. He jumped in front, ready to attack and go blow for people.
Yeah, he's Nigerian. I think the brother you're talking about is Israel, as then I can't even pronounce his last name. Lord.
Israel something, yeah. He's a UFC fighter.
Yeah, he's Nigerian.
Whatever.
Yeah,
And people checking him, Dana White about it. Was it Dana White or was it Joe Rogan? I thought it was Joe Rogan.
I think
Joe Rogan. Yeah, you're right. Joe Rogan.
Yeah. It was Joe Rogan. I think that Sauce Walker has like Afro Latino roots or something like that because I looked online. There was some YouTube clip. I didn't listen to it, but they said he has like Afro Latino. He might be like mixed with like Black American or Afro Latino. I don't know, but you know I do see like a lot of brothers who are FBA, okay, that do be giving these tethers, these cosplayers, you know, permission to use the freaking N word, and it's also a combination of both, huh? And it's also a combination of both of like tethers too. You know what I'm saying?
So,
Oh, he's Honduran. Oh Lord have mercy. Deport his ass. Deport his ass right now.
oh, I want to say this: Afro Latinos, I'm finding they feel that because their own community discriminates against them, that they're like us and face the same exact thing. So similar does not mean same. Afro Latinos are just as problematic. Yes, they descend from Africa and Africans, but they are not black American, and there's a difference. I just want to say that, and plus we have some other people who come up here, like Joe Mama, Cornbread, and Turtlese, but I believe Cornbread was here first.
Okay, yeah. Let's
This is Kiki, by the way. My name is
I know, Mama. I know. I was being professional.
Hey.
Hey.
Um, yeah, I don't think that, if you're not Black American or African American, no matter what the moniker you go by, you shouldn't say the word. But actually, how I'm feeling, because first of all, I was born in, 1999, they should say it so we can smack the hell out of them. Just like in Brooklyn, actually there was a racially motivated attack in Brooklyn actually in March, and they called him an N-word, and they're being charged with a hate crime. So, they say it so we can slap the shit out of you. Say it. Go ahead and say it. That's how I feel. Right? So we can take these people to court, so we can sue them, take all their money, do all of that. So that's how I feel. That's how I feel at this point in time. So
right, well, I mean, if they say it, like I said before, if they say it, that to me it would be a threat. To me, what he said was very hostile. He said
no,
that.
you're absolutely right. There was an instance where there was two white teen boys on a and I think this was a couple years ago. They were on a basketball court, and they approached a Black American teen, and they called him N-word, and he unalived one of them. So I mean, there are instances of it being, let's say, a threat, because that's racially motivated anyway. So you guys are weird. This live kicks. Yeah, I don't really know, but that's how I feel. I'm the type. I don't advocate for violence, but then I do, because I'm a. I don't really do no talking, especially when it comes to white tea people or non-black people using, terms that were negatively used against my people. You got to show them. Slap their ass. Do something to them. So I don't know. That's how I feel.
Well, all right then. All right.
Listen, stand on business. I ain't mad at that.
All right. Who was next? Turtles was next, right?
I believe so.
Okay. Turtles, you got it.
Oh, Kiki is foundational Black American. Did you say that, Kiki?
No.
Okay, yes, she's foundational Black American just for the
Okay.
room.
Turtles, you got it. Okay, going once, going twice. If Turtles don't want to, all right then. All right, you have a good one, Turtles. Let's get to Joe, man. We can start wrapping things up a little bit. You know, we
No
don't need another
problem.
6 hour, 5 hour thing. So we'll wrap things up relatively shortly. Not right now, but you know, Joe, man, you got it. Joe, man, going once, going twice. Okay, Joe, man is not here. Y'all wait. You know what? I'm gonna start. I'm gonna stop. You know, bringing y'all up when y'all profiles just seem like y'all wasting time. Honestly, when y'all profiles, when y'all don't have enough time to put numbers in, and there's no picture or nothing, I'm just gonna assume that if it's just a whole bunch of numbers, it's probably just a bot or something.
I was about to say, hold on now. I don't got no picture
Yeah,
on
I know. Yeah. Yeah, if it's just I mean, if you make a name, that's one thing. If it's just a bunch of numbers, I'm just gonna say, okay, I don't know what that's about. Let me
And
see.
can I just say, I like the fact that the sister just said that really only foundational Black Americans should be using the term, because although it doesn't bother me, it doesn't really bother me when non-Black Americans say it. Black people who aren't foundational Black Americans say it. Sometimes it does, okay? Because a lot of times there's an underlying, again, anti-Black American vitriol. Even if it's not necessarily just anti-Black, there's a specific anti-Black American vitriol undertone that they have, specifically with that word. And it's funny because I've had to check African before for using that word with the hard ER. And they using it in like a joking term. And I'm like, yo, this is not like, Black Americans might use it in a joking term if we're like impersonating a white supremacist, or if we're impersonating a racist or something like that. And we, what I'm saying? It might be something along the lines of that. We've heard that before. But to just come out and be saying, and this is what that person was doing, that's not normal, and I automatically could tell that they didn't have a connection to that word because they was doing. It's like, you didn't grow up. Why would you think just yelling that word with the hard ER is funny? That's not, but it's because there's a lack of connection there. And again, I assume the worst, even if you ain't gonna slap them, you should assume the worst. That should be an automatic marker for you that they're anti-Black at the very least. And that should be, all communication should be cut off of that, and action needs to be cut off after that. Even if it doesn't end in violence. I mean, again, we're not condoning violence. But but for
please
Black
say that we don't condone violence.
we
Please.
got to put that in there. But even for Black people who aren't Black Americans, there's still that level of like kind of, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable, hearing that come from them, knowing that you don't have the same feelings. Like, y'all wouldn't want to shoot in the gym. Though it wasn't no signs up with that word on it in Africa or in the Caribbean or, some of these places where these non-Black people were. So it's still like the fact that even some of them are so gun-ho on using the word or feeling like they have the same privilege.
They trying to get me to
Use the
jump.
word. It's a little offensive,
Yeah, I don't like what none of them using either at all. Because like you said,
Miami, you hit it on accident.
Huh?
I think Miami hit the thing on accident.
Yeah, they do have the anti-Black American settlement. I think I always say this: the prerequisite to become an American as an immigrant is to be anti-Black American. And so I even put them on the same as everybody else because they are the ones 9 out of 10 that's giving that quote unquote N-word pass 9 out of 10. We not giving no N-word pass. Let's keep it real. And you might have your one or two sambos, but the majority of us are not doing that. So we got people in the UK giving N-word pass. We got people in getting the N-word pass to people that don't need to get the N-word pass, right? So like you said, they had no real ties to that word, so they don't care. They'll throw it around or willy-nilly. Their one last point is We had a gentleman. There's a video recently of a Nigerian brother. I think he was talking about how he didn't want to go to his wedding, and he called Black Americans his N-word friends or his N-word something. I forgot. I think it was N-word friends.
Yeah, I saw that video.
Yeah, he reduced us to just his N-word friends. He didn't say Black American. He didn't say any of that. So I honestly, I don't even like when they say it. If you're not Black American, you had no ties to it, to this lineage. You shouldn't be saying that word at all. Period.
Yeah, the reason why he say doesn't want to go to the wedding because like he has submerged himself with Black American culture because he went to a predominantly Black school. He went to a HBCU. Went to Black American parties. Because he sees and has experienced how we party, how we celebrate our culture. But going to going back to Africa, back to Nigeria is not as entertaining or overwhelming as it was. And also I'm gonna start going slur for slur with some of these disrespectful as Spaniard juniors, okay? Because I'm starting to create my own slur. You guys want to hear it? I'm gonna start calling Mexicans BCOS, okay? You know what that means?
Please, we're on TikTok. I'm just if it's funny, okay.
No, it's not funny. It's not funny
Let's
at all.
keep it PG. Let's keep it PG.
Okay, BCOS. Do you want to know what that means? Because we can go slur for slur right now, baby. Okay.
Nah, let's keep it. Let's
All right, man, just text it to us then. Okay.
You know, when they start
That-
saying that, you call them a sus papai cat. I know BX know what that means, a sus papai cat.
Okay. But anyway, before we get into that, because I don't know where we gonna go. We don't want it to get too far.
Y'all don't speak to.
I'm just saying because I don't want people to come up and be copycats. Be like, I'm gonna call them. I'm gonna say this. What we've noticed, for instance, I'm not the type of person who will dismiss or take away somebody's blackness because I understand the system of white supremacy. I understand that. I don't ever try to refute anybody else's blackness when they're clearly black. However, we don't have the same history. We have the same ultimate global oppressor, but our history in our different nations are not the same. I wouldn't go to South Africa and be all like, I have the same history of apartheid that you do. And the same struggles of apartheid that you guys do, I have the same history. I wouldn't go to Haiti and be all like, my fight with the French is the same as your fight with the French. Because it's not the same. My history as a foundational Black American is different from the Haitians' history. Even though they've been oppressed, I'm not dismissing that. Even though they've been subjugated, I'm not dismissing that. South Africa, you've been subjugated, you've been oppressed. I'm not dismissing that. I'm not belittling that. I'm not justifying that. But I'm not going to say that I share the same history. So there might be things that you all say amongst yourselves because of your common history, that because I'm not a part of that history, my lineage doesn't go to that history, it would be off for me to say that. All right. That being said, you all come to America, and because we've welcomed you so much so, to a degree too much, we've welcomed you, you all have felt comfortable using that word. And now we're starting to see the issues that we're having with Mexican OT, with Joe Rogan, with all of the N-word past, is because you guys are coming from without the culture, outside of the culture, and you guys don't have the same negative history with that word. So it doesn't hold the same weight and gravity to you guys. And that's why you guys are so cavalier with letting other people use that word. We had the issue with Kai Cenat. Kai Cenat was sitting up there giving people, Kai Cenat is Haitian. Kai Cenat sitting up there giving people passes to use that word. What's that other Nigerian guy who was giving Joe Rogan a pass to use that word? Then you got Cleopatra giving people a pass to use that word. You have Angela Yee giving people a pass to use that word. So we're starting to see a pattern of the people who's a Sauce Walker giving people a pass to use that word. So we're starting to see a pattern of people from outside of the lineage allowing other people to come in. If y'all seen the movie Sinners, we not letting people in the juke joint, but we see the only people letting folk in the juke joint is non-FBA. And we keep wondering how they keep getting in here. Not to say that there's not a single FBA who does, but we keep wondering, damn, we keep having this issue, and we find out the gatekeeper is always non-FBA and is always inviting them in. Okay, not even giving them a pass, damn near asking them to do it.
Facts.
Yeah. And not only that, their level of understanding for a lot of these non-Black Americans that come into our spaces, their level of understanding white supremacy and a system of racism is totally different from ours. A lot of it is a lot more ignorant, should I say, than our understanding on a general consensus. And I'm talking about even just for Black Americans on average who may not even have conscious parents or grew up in a conscious pro-Black household. Our level of understanding of the system is much greater than some of these other groups that come here and try to infiltrate our spaces. Just like that brother Sauce Walker who got up there and was like, yeah, y'all don't know that racism is not words. And it's like, we understand as Black Americans that racism is still words. It's still thoughts, it's speech, and it's action backed by the system, backed by a system. It's not just the system itself. It's everything that comes from that, all the branches that come from that. And saying that word, again, so aggressively, especially in a space like that, that is racism. That is a prime example of what that is. But of course, you coming here and not understanding that, you coming from a majority Black space and then coming here with white people, and some of them coming here with this white savior complex, thinking that white people are greater than white people are greater than what they are. Of course you don't find offense to some of these things. Of course you don't think that words don't matter. Sticks and stones may break my bones and words just don't hurt me. And that's not the point. You just don't understand the system.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's the truth. There's a thing we used to. I'm gonna give a personal, not too personal, but personal. There was a point in time when my younger brother, had said it around my grandmother. Now, before at our house, we was just saying it. We were just saying it. It wasn't no big deal. My parents didn't really use it, but they didn't have an issue. I mean, they use it here or there, but we used to watch comedians, Bernie Mac and all of that stuff, and he was saying it, and all of these comedians were saying it, and we didn't think my auntie was saying it. We was just saying it. We was at my grandma's house one time. I was young, too, and my brother had said it. He didn't say it to her, but he had said it, and she had heard him say it. And she had literally addressed the fact that she don't feel nobody should say it at all, not even Black people. She feels, because she has a very negative history with that word. And after that, I was like, okay, it made me stop saying it for a very long time. Now, I do respect people, especially, you have elders in the community. I respect their perspective. And she's like, nobody should use it whatsoever. That's her perspective based off of her history. I can respect that, even though I'm not going to say it's the same. It's not the same if we use it, because I feel when foundational Black Americans use it, it can the meaning of it changes because the context changes. So it can actually be used really almost as a term of endearment and brotherhood, to show commonality of a history, of a negative history. We're showing commonality, and it makes it's satire, and it takes the power from the white supremacists and gives it to us as a term of commonality. But I also respect fully if someone says that they don't like that word whatsoever. Another FBA says they don't appreciate that word whatsoever. Yeah. But the thing is that I understand that there's times and places I can use it and can't use it, even as a foundational Black American on both sides of my family. Okay. Growing up, what's his name? Kai Cenat, his grandma's not going to say that. They're not going to say that because his grandmother doesn't have the same experience with the N-word that mine does. Okay. The Sauce Walker, his grandmother doesn't have the same experience that mine does. His grandmother is not going to tell him about Jim Crow. Okay. His grandmother is not going to tell him about the fact that racists used to use that word against his grandmother's not going to say that. So even growing up, they're not going to have this cultural awareness of the word that we have. Even if the word is not used as a slur as often publicly to us, we still have cultural awareness based off of our family that they don't have. So that's why they are looking at it like, hey, it's just, I mean, it's whatever. It's just any other word, and it's not.
You know what's crazy after Afro is that they know, right? They just don't respect cultural boundaries, and that's what it is. Because me growing up into the Bronx, New York high bridge, around a lot of them, right? They call themselves primo, right? And I started saying, "Yo, primo, what's up, primo? Everything, that means cousin. I ain't think nothing bad of it." They let it be known, "Hey, papito, nah, they can't say primo." All right, I respected it. I didn't say no. It's not that bad. Come on, let me say it. No. I didn't argue with him. He said that was a problem. It was a problem, right? Because I understand the cultural boundaries. But now when it comes to us, they understand and know it's a bad word. They just don't respect the cultural boundaries until now. One or two things happen. What people said earlier, or again, for my passive people, time to start having people lose their jobs, right? It's time to start having people go to HR, let them know, report it 3 times. If there's no action being done, you sue your job, you sue the job. It's that simple. Even if they joking, even if they say the term endearment and you don't like it, it's time to make a bag off it. That's it. We're not going to sit down. We're not going to play games. Whoever are the more aggressive types, whatever y'all said earlier, do what you need to do. But it don't always, we can go both ways.
Mm-hmm. They're not taught to be respectful. Ultimately,
Yeah.
they're not taught to be respectful. They're not taught to be even sympathetic to the plight of other people. Not really. Not really. Because that's something foundational Black Americans, even though we understand our plight is unique and different, but we've always been taught to be sympathetic and respectful to other people and other people's culture and other people's plight. We've always been taught about, okay, what happened to the Japanese people was wrong. What happened to the Native American people was wrong. What happened to Mexicans and other Hispanic people were wrong. We've been taught that. They've not been taught to show any respect to us in particular. Okay? They've been taught that our community, just us, because they don't have this issue with other communities, just us, our community, it doesn't matter if you show them any respect whatsoever. That our community does not have to have the same level of respect that other people's community does.
Can I say this? And I'm about to head out. What I don't understand is that every community, every ethnicity, every race, they tend to study us. Okay, they are very fanatic and very just at awe of our culture. They study the way we talk. They study our ebonics, our AAVE, our slang. Learn how to duplicate or I would say emulate our accents. Okay, they study how we rap, they study how we sing, even in the UK. But for some reason, it's hard for them to study our damn history, our Black American history. It's hard for them to sit the hell down and study our Black American history because you got Busta Rhymes who said that Black Americans don't have any history. Do you know how many freaking chains and Rolls Royces that this disrespectful continental Negro has?
Mm.
Do you know how much money? He's a freaking millionaire. So you mean to tell me that you can afford all these lavish lifestyles and shit like that, but you can't order a book on Amazon and buy a damn Black American history book on our culture and learn our trials and tribulations? That's what pisses me off. They study our culture. They study how we sing, dance, rap, but they won't study our history. That's fucked up. Sorry for cursing. I'm gonna head out. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate it. You know
Yes,
what? We
thank
need to
you,
have
Afro
another
Elite,
place.
for
Well, we
having
need
me.
to, hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all.
I'm heading out. I'm heading out. Percent. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
Both.
appreciate you, brother.
Have a blessed one.
You too. Thank you. What we need to have in another space, not tonight, because we're gonna wrap things up a little bit, is the fact that most non-FBAs, including, let's be honest, including the people from the diaspora, they're ethnically insecure. They're ethnically insecure. Okay. They want to mimic, let's be honest. It's not, if all kids were all together, why are Black kids the only kids getting mimicked? Why is Black culture the only culture that people fight to claim and fight to be a part of and fight to this? And hip hop is 50-50 and all it. You all are fighting to be a part of something that you're not. That's insecurity of your own culture. And a lot of these people, because they're insecure of their own culture, it makes them angry and jealous and bitter. And that's why we're fighting a lot of the bitterness and the hostility that we have to deal with, just like with Mexican OT. That comes from the anger of his own insecurity. His own racial insecurity, or ethnic rather insecurity, is causing him to have resentment. Okay, it's an envy of our culture that we're just starting to recognize. We're just starting to recognize how envious other people are of our
Amen.
culture, and
That's right.
that makes them angry and bitter and jealous and hostile. Worse, it makes them hostile towards us. But we're gonna have to have that conversation soon, not tonight. But anti-tether, I'm gonna let you go ahead, and then we're gonna.
Hey, how you guys doing? A coworker of mine, I'm just getting off work. A coworker of mine showed me this video right here in regards to this gentleman being interviewed with this other tether woman. She's Nigerian, right? Nigerian woman.
Yeah,
she's Nigerian. So the thing about it is, you know, we have to in regard, and I want to say this in regards to Black Diaspora before I refer to this gentleman right here. We have to get to the meat of the bones, to the meat of of everything, in regards to these non-FBAs, these Nigerians, these Jamaicans, these Trinidadians, these Haitians. We have to start calling them out in regards to anything they may do in regards to our culture. You see where I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired, day in and day out, they cosplaying what we do. And like you said, it's an undercover jealousy that they have of us. You know, I look at that young lady, Tyler from South Africa, how she was on a video saying, all my life, growing up as a kid, I wish I was from America. I wish I was part of the Black, the FBA community. I wish, because I used to study them growing up as a kid. But then you have the ones who are born here and raised here amongst them. You have to realize I'm almost 50 years old. And, when I was growing up, Black was just Black. We never questioned your background. We just looked at it as Black being Black. But as time started going on, but you get to realize you didn't have really a lot of Black foreigners back then as well when I was growing up too. When we said Black back then, we said Black as an ethnic group, and 9 times out of 10, 10 out of 10, your ancestors came from the American South. Meaning about your parents or your grandparents. So that we had that connection. But as time would start, progressing, you start seeing the Jamaicans moving, the Trinidadians moving, the Haitians, and now you start seeing these little ethnic groups from Africa moving. And now they're trying to cosplay our culture. And this young lady wasn't really speaking on our behalf in regards to, well, why do you use the N-word? This. She has a podcast going on here. She's trying to get followers. She's trying to make a dollar bill. Do you really think that she gives a damn about us? Do you? I'm being honest.
No. And it would be one thing, because there's a lot of people trying to act like they can lightweight defend her. Oh, well, she didn't know what he was going to say or whatever. You could slightly accept that excuse if she had not already displayed anti-FBA vitriol before.
Exactly.
She had already displayed that well before this interview. So we're not going to sit up here and act like this is a one-off, or she was caught off guard and didn't know what to say.
Yes, she hit it right on the nose. She has a history of what you're saying. She has a history of anti-rhetoric within our community. It's like you said, if she came off the back and we didn't really know her, and she said this, well, maybe we probably gave her somewhat of a pass. But we know her. We know her background. We know things that she said in the past about our community. And this is what I'm saying. She's not like us. She's just cosplaying us. And this is what I'm saying. We have to get, start calling these people out, because they're using their skin color to slide into our community, right? And to benefit from us. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the Barack Obamas. I'm tired of the Busta Rhymes, the Kamala Harrises. I'm tired of all these people trying to come into our community, use their skin color. Oh, I'm Black like you. I'm Black like you. I black. No. Say me no black. Do me the honor of saying me no black and get out of my face. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of people coming around here, want to speak on our behalf, but at their dinner tables, they're speaking ill of us. When that gentleman down in Miami got unalived by his white tea girlfriend, that African, I mean, what happened? First thing his sister said, "Oh, black community, we need your help, blase, blase." Come to find out, not only him, but his parents were speaking ill of FBA women. Okay? So you know what? I had diarrhea that day, and I wasn't going to sit down there and take no time out to sit down there and support anything. I feel bad. I don't want to see nobody unalive. But you know what? I had to run that day. You know what? And I'm not coming around to support nobody who speaks ill of my women. I'm not. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of people like that. Not just the black immigrants, but you all. I was on a podcast last night, and I was trying to tell this Mexican American, not only in the United States, but there's also blacks in other countries who refer to their communities as black communities. He was trying to say to me that, well, I think that FBA people have been going to these countries and trying to influence these black communities in these other countries. I said, no, sir. They have their own fights in their own countries that they're trying to fight for. Don't try to sit there and say that we as black Americans are trying to bring our racial thing towards other countries that have black people there too. And he's trying to say, well, we as foreigners, we always go by our nationalities. Okay, that's not. Well, I said, well, that's over here. But when some people in their respective countries, they have black skin, they may refer to as a black person or a black community. And I don't want to get too far going off the subject, but let me just get back to my topic, to the topic at hand. We have to realize we have to start checking these people, man. Seriously. I mean, I don't care, man. I check them all the time. Me and my brother, we was in a bar one day, and we were talking to these Ethiopian women, and as soon as they found out that we were black Americans, trying to start talking with this AAV vernacular, we looking at ourselves, just 5 minutes, you weren't talking that way.
You know, what's funny, with Chloe Trapper, I'm going to say this and then we're going to land. Mm-hmm. I don't know, a lot of people don't know, but I was there and I saw she had a tour with Ice Spice.
Okay.
Ice Spice did a tour. And she went
she's Dominican.
On a TikTok series. She went on a TikTok series about the tour and about how she was mistreated. She didn't get nothing to eat. They wasn't helping her with her bags. It was uncomfortable. She went on a whole long thing, and there was a lot of people who was having a lot of sympathy for her, and it was mainly black women. It was mainly black, foundational black American women who got on Ice Spice for mistreating Chloe Trapper. And then the second, I guess, that was over, she started being all like FBA women from the South can't dress.
See?
Okay. She didn't have like, we better than y'all. She didn't have that when she was on tour or when she was trying to do that thing, when she was making that video, all that the super uppity and we better than y'all attitude. Okay. And that's one of the things we constantly are looking out for people. We constantly giving sympathy to people. We constantly checking people for doing other people wrong. Now, Ice Spice ain't FBA either, but we got on Ice Spice. But I'm just saying.
She's but even though they try to say that her dad is Nigerian, Joseph Gibson is not Gibson is not a Nigerian name.
He's confused. Cleopatra is not half. Maybe Ice Spice.
I said Ice Spice.
Okay.
I heard she was too. I heard she was half.
You heard she was what?
She's Dominican and Black American.
She's Dominican and Black American.
It's not verified, but I did hear that too.
Okay, I heard she was non-FBA.
Well, she's half. I don't really,
okay, well, if she's okay, all right.
I don't really count that either. But
I'm gonna check into that. I'm gonna check into that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you're right though, man. We just got, man. It sickens me, but you know what? The word is spreading. My daughter, she's 22. She lives in LA, and me and her hadn't even talked about this. And me and her had dinner one day, and she was educating me on foundational Black Americans and how people out there are securing their lineage, are taking more notable to their lineage and their heritage, and being American first, and being pro foundational Black American. I mean, it's spreading. I mean, all throughout the country. And I hate to say it, but the hell with Africa. I have no ties to that place. My ancestors, my culture starts here.
Yeah, thank you, bro. We're gonna be wrapping things up. I'm gonna say for the solid folks from the diaspora, y'all need to be checking the tethers first, because it makes it harder. It makes it harder for you guys, because y'all letting the tethers represent where you're from.
Yep.
So when you have a Nigerian tether or whatever the case is, if he's speaking louder than you, he's representing Nigeria.
Exactly.
Y'all need to be the ones pulling his coattail and checking him and being all like, hey, he don't speak for all of us. But don't feel no type of way when he's doing what he's doing and y'all turn a blind eye, and then we get on his bumper about it, and now y'all acting like we doing y'all wrong. Don't do that. So if anything, the solid folks from the diaspora, because we do have some, don't get me wrong, we do.
Of course, we got
but the solid folks, hold up, brother. But the solid folks from the diaspora, y'all need to be the first ones trying to represent being on code. But y'all, you know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't got it. Okay? Y'all too quiet, and then when we say something, y'all be acting all hurt and in your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So, y'all got either. It is what it is. That's just how it's gonna be. It's gonna be like that until y'all get it together. But we ain't holding our breath. But we'll wrap things up right there. It was
a pleasure, everybody. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
This was a pretty good live here. So, Zeze, do you have anything? And then we'll let BX close us up.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. For sure. Good conversation. The anti-Black racists always expose themselves. I did peep some of the comments. Again, just proving the point. Some of these
you always get those.
Yeah, Latinos in the they proving the point, but it's okay, because I love for you to expose yourself. Just like you using the N-word, baby, it's freedom of speech. You can do whatever the hell you want to do, but just know, the consequences that may come behind that, and the label that you get that also comes with that, which is you're an anti-Black racist. Yep. So I don't want to hear an argument. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to debate with you. I'm not going to even question you, to be honest. I don't give a damn. All I know is I'm going to protect me. I'm going to protect my community. I'm going to protect my own damn energy and just assume the worst, because based off history, that has been so. So, again, thank you for having me on. This was fun. Yeah, absolutely.
We on code, baby. We on code.
On code, baby.
Yes, indeed. Y'all make sure y'all go to Afro Elite on YouTube, and For the Culture. If y'all listen like this, go to For the Culture on YouTube. Plus, me and her, we have our own podcast that we do on YouTube.
Oh, y'all do?
Okay. Yeah. We have our own individual channels. Then we have a podcast together. So y'all make sure y'all go subscribe to that. And
how often do you guys get together for the podcast?
We just brought the podcast a couple days ago.
We just did one on Juneteenth.
Okay.
All right.
I'll look into it.
And then we have, we do lives and stuff like that. So thank you. All right, BX, close us out, please.
Yes. Hi, Zeze. It was nice to meet you.
You too,
sister. Peace. So, I got to ask you, Afro, when's the next TikTok live?
Let me see. I could see if I can do it. Maybe tomorrow after my live, because I'm going live tomorrow on YouTube. So maybe after that.
Off the late night.
Yeah. I can't make no guarantees for that. If I don't, here's what I'll guarantee though. If I don't do it tomorrow night, I'll do it Thursday. Okay.
Okay. I'm available every day except for Friday evenings between, I think, 6:30 to 8:30.
All right.
p.m. Eastern time. So I just want to remind everybody there's a way to share culture without stepping on anybody else's toes. I cannot say that we can effectively gatekeep our culture because certain aspects of it are already exploited, but we can put the boundaries up. So moving forward, if people feel that others can be our allies, that's your feeling and your feelings alone, because BX is going to practice tolerance. I know that we have no allies, but I will, maintain cultural boundaries. We have to start setting boundaries, guys. The N word is a boundary. Hip hop is a boundary. So for the N word, you say we're not a monolith.
Mm.
And my elders don't want to hear y'all saying that. I don't want to hear you saying that. And if they really truly your friend and they're writers for the lineage, they're gonna respect that. People like Mexican OT, and Fat Joe, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Nothing you can do about it. That's not our ally. We shouldn't support them. Put your money, don't stream his music, right? As far as hip hop, the greatest thing with hip hop is that they're trying, the biggest thing with hip hop is that they're trying to appropriate it, say it's New York culture, it's not just black culture. And I want to remind everybody, if you are a black person or a Latino in New York and you live in proximity around foundational black Americans, when you go in your house, your culture restarts, right? But the culture that I share with you outside, whatever it was, it never ends for me when I go in my home because I was raised by two foundational Black Americans, so on and so forth. And so it's not New York culture. New York doesn't give you an authority to think you own anything, say the N word, anything, any part of our culture. It is foundational Black American culture that we shared for you. I'm extending that to Cali, Texas, and places like that. And so I want everybody to be mindful. If you need our voices, I suggest y'all do some inner reflecting and see what y'all did wrong to us. It's not always us. Sometimes it's you. I land.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Well, with that being said, I appreciate all of the gifts, all of the likes, everybody coming up. We tried to get to as many people. There were some people we missed. So y'all make sure y'all follow so y'all will make sure that you guys get a chance to come up the next time. That
Okay.
being said, good night, everybody.
Bye bye. Take care.
Be
Good
one.
night. Peace and reparations.
Yes, indeed.